Key 103. The James H. Reeve phone-in.
There's many a time I've sat in my living room and cried my eyes out because of these tattoos. I've even thought of getting a knife and cutting them off myself.
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
So do you think they're going to cost an arm and an egg? These leg and an arm and an egg.
An arm and an egg?
Oh, brilliant!
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
What they don't seem to realise is that respect on the street is not respect, it's fear.
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
I'm entitled to walk in my community safe and live in my own home safe, but they took that away from us.
The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Why should I do that, you're thinking? Well, I'll tell you why, because we're going to be talking to a very, very interesting man in a moment or two who can, well, it would be foolish to make any promises because it is a bit of a tough task, but it's just possible that we will crack the secret this evening of how and why men and women are different from each other. Apart from the obvious, apart from the smutty thoughts you're already entertaining, why they are wired up completely differently. It's a bit of a tall order, but you never know. Someone's got to have a crack at it. We'll be talking to Roger McCartney in a second. And as we make our way through the evening, I'll put one or two things to you while we're waiting, of course, for the news that has got the nation on the edge of its seat as to whether Wayne Rooney's foot is all right. Don't worry. You won't miss. You won't miss a single X-ray. We'll bring the news as soon as it's released. On a more serious note, no, it probably isn't. I would imagine Wayne Rooney's foot is the most serious matter occupying the nation's thoughts at the moment. But just, I'll throw in by way of a couple of make weights. A little later, you're more than welcome to have your say on, sort of the continuation of something we talked about last night, actually. What's going on over this Forest Gate raid business over the alleged chemical weapons. The latest development in that is that Yvonne Ridley, if you don't remember who she was the journalist who was kidnapped by the Taliban. Does that ring a bell? And was then released, but subsequently converted to Islam. And her method, apparently, of smoothing things over is to suggest today that Muslims should not cooperate with the Metropolitan Police, or for that matter, I think I'm right in saying, any police whatsoever. Which doesn't seem to me to be the right way of going about things. That's more or less what we were thrashing out last night, actually, but that development has happened today. And you might like this one as well, a little bit nearer home, especially in the light of what seems to be a rash of knife-related incidents, as we call them, stabbings, that is. And this is from Blakely in Manchester, a pupil who was expelled from school in Blakely, excluded we call it now, because expelled sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it, as it might be a breach of your human rights. Anyway, he was thrown out for being in possession of a knife. On appeal, he has been allowed back into the school. This is a decision which has left not only the MP for Blakely, Graham Stringer, but also Tony Blair, who, as far as we're aware, is still the Prime Minister. This has left them both surprised and puzzled. And it's not the first time something like this has happened. Kids have been thrown out of school for entirely outrageous behaviour. And then because of this procedure to which they are entitled, on a number of occasions the school has been overruled and they've been let back in. Some of them have been for assaulting teachers, and they're let back in. Anyway, bear that in mind, because we'll talk about that later on. Anything that at any moment you feel you wish to communicate with us, and it's 0161 288 0103. But we're going to start with something which is, well, when you study the demographics of radio programming carefully, you find that sometimes you're required to appeal to certain genders. And we can't go wrong with this one, because this splits the population of the world entirely down the middle, which is very fortunate, almost precisely, I think, into what I shall conveniently call, for the purposes of this discussion, male and female. The reason is, we've got Roger McCartney in the studio with us. Roger McCartney took, well, I'll just check with him. I presume you're quite happy to admit that it was the original suggestion by this yank that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That was what set you off thinking along these lines.
Yes, that's right, James. Good evening. What it was is it's a pun on the column that I wrote for Woman magazine was called Message from Mars, and that was obviously a pun on the men are from Mars and women are from Venus idea. So
Yeah.
it is along those lines, and it's to do with the American gentleman that you mentioned.
So, I can't remember. I did.
John Gray, I think.
John Gray, that's right. Yeah, yeah. A dapper little gentleman who I saw demonstrating his theory on the telly a few times.
Yeah.
So you thought, well, it's only fair in the interests of universal understanding, interstellar. Well, no, just within the solar system. But it's only fair if a Martian, such as yourself, were to explain your point of view to the Venusians, who would be the readers of Woman magazine.
Yeah, well, this is the idea behind the column. But really, I think the John Gray book was more of a serious sort of expedition, whereas mine is sort of bordering on the humorous, and it was intended as a humorous sort of weekly column, but also informative, and it was supposed to be a peek up the trouser leg of the male psyche. That's how they sort of
peek up the trouser leg. That's a fascinating expression. I must borrow that one.
There was a lot of things going on up the trouser leg, and they wanted to peek at some of the things that were going on from the male perspective, and that's why they got me in to write the column.
Well, I know you've done it from obviously, as you say, it's in an amusing style, but actually all the points that you choose to describe are actually significant ones when men and women look at each other and think, why do we think and behave differently?
Yeah.
Over. Well, you've got a list of them here. Shopping. Shopping. Why is it? Why do blokes hate shopping and women can't get enough of it?
Women love it. This is one of the things that, it's the subject matter that I've chosen to write about is there's always an underlying point running through it, and there's a serious point, but I try to focus on the humour and bring out the humorous antidotes and what have you. But there is an underlying point, and the fact is that men don't really like shopping, and that's the key point of that chapter. And why do they not like it? What's their sort of behaviour when they go shopping? Why do women like it? The fact that a woman will always outshop a man, even when you're looking for power saws and things like that in B&Q, she'll still be out shopping you. And I'm just looking at there is an underlying point in each chapter.
As if these things reside in a certain part of the human brain. A woman will apply the same things to, as you say, getting a router. I've always fancied a router, actually, for more ambitious. Anyway, that doesn't matter now. She will apply the same criteria to that as to choosing a frock.
Yeah. Apparently, women are very good at looking for value and making sure they get the best buy for their money, and weighing up several different models of each particular power saw that you're looking at. But a man will always go for the biggest and best and the most expensive, and that's it, and that's all he'll settle for.
Actually, that's interesting. This isn't something that you mentioned, but apparently, when it comes to buying lawnmowers, men always buy a lawnmower which is far too big for the amount of lawn that they've got to cut. It's far too big or unnecessarily powerful.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the male dynamic, isn't it, coming into being? It's all to do with some sort of extension of. I don't really want to go down that road and mention what it is, but there's some sort of,
Are you talking about down below?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can talk about down below. It's all right. Yeah.
We're after the watershed, aren't we?
Yeah, if indeed there is such a thing. Yeah, you might as well. Yeah.
No, I think this is men always go for the biggest, boldest, and nicest cars that they can find, and this is also an extension of their sort of, bodily sort of attributes, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bigger the better, really.
Yeah. You're trying not to say that word, aren't you?
The P word.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Trying to steer away from it.
Yeah. No, don't worry. Somebody will, I'm sure. Listen, just bear with us. If at any point you want to communicate here, and you might be able to offer some examples of the sort of thing Roger's talking about the difference between men and women, or you might want to ask for an explanation as to some of them. 0161 288 0103. You may feel that this is a retrograde step, and we're going back to the unfortunate days of stereotyping men and women. But the fact is that whatever legislation may be passed, and however much we try to refine our attitudes, that these differences are undeniable.
Yeah,
and would you maintain that irreversible?
You can't deny them. I mean, there will be some people that say that we shouldn't be focusing on the differences between the sexes, but at the end of the day, they do exist, and what I've done is I've tried not to be chauvinistic by highlighting what they are, but there is a lot of humour to be eked out from the differences, and you know, I think it's a bit silly really to say that we're the same.
Right. I mean, just to go through the subjects that you touched on. You did this as a weekly column, and you've now published it on the internet.
This book is available on the internet. It's called "Because I'm a Caveman, That's Why," and that's the underlying theme of the book. Is that most of the behaviour dates back to caveman times, and the book is now available on the internet on lulu.com. And it's basically a compilation of the columns.
Okay, some of these you touch on things which are sensitive. I wonder how did Woman magazine react when they read them and said?
Oh, they loved it.
Really?
They couldn't get enough of it. Really, they kept on saying, "Tell us about this and tell us about that, and what do you think about breasts and things like this?" And I said, "I can't really say that," and you mention breasts in a national magazine, and they said, "Yes, you can. Of course you can. You're a bloke. You can do anything you want." And they kept on saying, "Come on, give us the dirt, please, give us the dirt." And I'd send them in, and they'd sort of edit them up and put them out every week, and they loved it. They couldn't get enough of it. Really, it was like I was a spy in the camp of the male population, and I was giving them the sort of inside secrets. Really.
I see. Oh, you're a mole. Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, most of these, why men lie about overweight women, fine, why men cheat, why men hate home improvements, but this one here, why men don't like breast implants, come on.
Yeah, I mean...
You made a big mistake there, if you don't mind my saying so.
What, do you think that's wrong then? That men
in my view, yeah.
I mean, basically what I've said in the chapter is that men will always prefer natural to the surgically improved counterparts. There's something infinitely false and unnatural about implants, or am I missing the point?
I think. Well, let's put it this way. Aesthetically, I think they're generally well received.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be a multi-million-dollar industry based on creating them, would there?
Yeah, I think they are. Seriously, they are good for both sexes, really, both for men to look at, and also they give women a lot of confidence. But that's on the surface, but if you strip away the sort of, the outer coverings or whatever, they're not as good. They can't be as good.
They're not as good.
They're not as good. I don't think they are.
All right then. Again, you talk about DIY and home improvement and that sort of thing. Yeah. Now, I quite like that, and also it kind of helps a bloke to be, here, let me do that. Trouble with that door? Well, it's a little bit warped, you see, and what you need is some 3-inch 10s. It makes you feel so superior, and it just elicits admiration.
Yeah, I think DIY is one area where a man can come into his own and sort of focus in on the male type role that he's got. He can bring out all his skills that have been passed down through the generations. DIY is sort of fashioning items out of wood and stone, isn't it? And sitting outside a cave and putting things together. But the thing is that
MDF.
And also the same with home improvement. But the thing is that we're not all master craftsmen. I think half the male population are, and half really aren't that skilled at it. Really, I mean, when I was at school, I was hopeless at woodwork and metalwork, and that's just, I didn't foresee that one day it would be sort of like my life's goal would come down to getting a hole aligned in the wall. So I wasn't any good at it. But I was 33 before I had a screwdriver, and I was 35 before I used it. And
oh yeah, it was a Christmas present, wasn't it?
Yes. But I think that, I think some of the male population out there probably agree with me that we're not all sort of skilled at it naturally, but we're expected to be by the women. And it not only does it feed into our self-esteem as males, but it also feeds into the esteem that they have for us and how good we are at doing things around the house.
Right, but doesn't what you've just said there, doesn't that also imply? And it's so difficult to get women to understand this. Yeah. The pressure that men are under.
Well, this is it. I mean, there's pressure coming from all sides. Isn't it?
You're expected to be able to put shelves up, and who's to say you can?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I wish I was more. Perhaps I'd
in touch with your
in my female side.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have to put the shells up.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, it goes down. And my girlfriend, I don't know if she's listening, but hopefully over the internet she's listening. The brake light on her car's gone today, and she said I have to put it in the garage to get the brake light done, to get a bulb replaced.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't need to do that. I can do that. That's what I'm for, to do things. So it's like there is a sort of gaze of expectation will fall on the male as soon as anything goes wrong, and the women sometimes haven't really got the first idea what to do, have they?
Right, 0161 288 0103. If you hear something which you feel is a gross misrepresentation, all you've got to do is call that number, 0161 288 0103. Where did you do your research? Is it entirely personal, or did you take a few soundings and make a few observations?
Well, most of the antidotes in the book are entirely personal, and it sort of comes from personal experiences, in different relationships, and I bring up a lot of the school days, the influences from school days and things like that. But I did sort of do straw polls on my friends and see what they think, and I also try to sort of gauge what the male population thinks, and you get a feeling for what's going on, don't you, to a certain extent, from from just the people around you.
When do you think it first occurs to you that this difference exists? When's the first time that you thought, hang on, that isn't the way I would have considered that situation? I wouldn't have said that under those circumstances.
Well, you mean the difference between the sexes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's probably about when I was about 12. I think I started realising that there was significant differences between the two of us, two sexes, and it was about that age I started to realise that there was these pretty things called women that were out there, and that's when I started to notice the differences. But I think when you get into relationships after you've left school, that's when you start noticing the fundamental differences. The fact that men are good at DIY and procrastination, things like that, and women. Yeah,
procrastination. Go on about that.
Well, this is the first chapter in the book actually about procrastination. We men have a saying, never do today what you can put off until tomorrow. I don't know where it came from. I have to look it up probably tomorrow or sometime next week. It's just procrastination is one thing that men have are seamless at putting things off. I mean, women are very good at multitasking, but men can effortlessly put off several tasks at once. Multi-thinking about, but not actually doing tasking. It's just one of those things. We're brilliant at procrastination. I think it dates back to caveman times when we were used to loafing about the cave, in between hunts. And
this is reflected actually in the animal kingdom, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the male of the species will do the hunt or do the capture of the food or whatever, and then between hunts will actually loaf about, resting or recuperating from the hunt in the cave or whatever. Yeah. And this is where I say procrastination has come from in the male.
Because it's interesting you chose lions, because I think I remember reading something like that. The lioness does virtually everything actually.
Yeah.
And in fact, sometimes quite a bit of the hunting.
Yeah, doesn't the lioness do the hunting?
I think so. Yeah, and the lion does virtually nothing.
No.
Except mate.
Yeah, which is always a good thing.
Fantastic, eh?
That's a good life.
0161 288 0103. We're going to speak to we're going to speak to a woman. All right.
Yeah, we'll try that.
In Oldham in a second. Hang on, Sharon, we're coming to you. It's 23 minutes past 10. It's James H. Reeve on Key 103 in the company of Roger McCartney. Who he seems to be sometimes from Mars, sometimes a caveman, but the principle is the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Representing the, he's trying to open a little window into the male world for the women of the planet. And what better place to start than Oldham?
Oldham.
Right. Shannon will be with you shortly, Chuck.
Key 103.
Call it 25. Emil, £25,000.
I love Key 103.
If that sounds good to you, then the great news is we're doing it again. And this time round, there's even more money to be won. These are the 3 songs you're listening out for on Key 103's £25,000 triple play. Song 1, Sugar Babes, Push the Button. Song 2, Madonna, Like a Prayer. Song 3, Stereophonics, Handbags and Glad Rags. We will play those songs in full and in that order on Key 103 sometime soon. And when we do, we'll be giving away another £25,000 cash. Stay listening to win cash. The £25,000 triple play is playing again on Manchester's #1 hit music station. Key 103.
Download your World Cup survival guide and live like a footballer's wife. Log on to key103.co.uk with the Lowry Outlet Mall Salford Keys.
Finger.
Yes, Brian?
Time to put feet through their paces in one of our little back garden kickabouts. Together, we body parts are a very fine team, you know. We line the ball up, we slam it into the fence, we line the ball...
Brian? Why is bottom on the ground?
Skybox Office. All you need is a brain and a finger. This week in Goal, a young Mexican boy escapes from a humdrum life in Los Angeles for the trials and temptations that face a professional footballer in Newcastle. Oh, pull the other one. Anyway, there's some bloke called Beckham in it as well. Sky Digital subscribers only. Skybox Office terms apply.
Brian?
Yes, Finger.
Are all referees blind?
After school, he'd give me my secret homework. He'd do gross things to me. I didn't want to tell anybody, because he'd just think I was dirty. It went on and on until I told someone. It made me realise it wasn't my fault, and I had nothing to be ashamed of. If it's happened to you, when you're ready, visit the NSPCC website, don'thideit.com, or call Childline on 0800 1111. Remember, if you've been sexually abused, you don't have to hide it anymore.
We've been thinking about it. Sometimes there is no time to think, especially if you're after a new Kia Rio limited edition Zap with 5 doors, 1.4 litre engine, aircon, CD player and 1 year's free insurance from just £7,495. So drop everything and run to your nearest dealer or visit kia.co.uk, because when they're gone, they're gone. The new limited edition Rio Zap from Kia, the thinking person's car company. Conditions apply.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, if you just joined us, then we're talking to Roger McCartney, who is a man who is... how long was this, were you fulfilling this role of reporting from inside the world of men for the benefit of women?
It banned sometime last year, about 3 months, I think it was.
About 3 months?
Yeah, then they had a repositioning of the magazine, and they repositioned me outside the door.
Yeah, that's a business expression,
It's
isn't
an
it?
editor change, and she wanted to sort of spruce it up. So that was it, really.
Bring back the knitting.
Yeah, bring back the knitting. And
Yeah, well, I think it's about time, you know what I mean? I think they've got above this station. Let's have Sharon in Oldham. Come on, you're on Key 103. Hello, Mrs.
Hi.
Hiya.
Nice to speak to you.
I'm sure it is. Listen, do you agree with the basic premise of this, that men and women are completely... I mean, obviously there are many similarities, but broadly speaking, we'll never be, strictly speaking, the same thing, will we?
No. The reason I sort of beg to differ with this gentleman is I have
Call him Roger.
Roger. Hi, Roger.
Hiya.
Is that I am 37 years old, I live on my own, and the hugest problem I have is I choose to do everything myself. And because I want to know how to do things, I don't want to sort of... It's not depend on somebody else. It's just that because I want to actually know how to do things. If something goes wrong, it's like my brain wants to think, well, how do I actually do that? If the brake light goes on my car, I know how to replace it. I know how to tile. I know how to put carpets down. And I actually think, oh my God, it's a big problem with myself because I make every male in my life feel helpless.
Well, that's a dirty trick, if you don't mind me saying so.
Why?
because you're not supposed to make us feel inadequate.
But I think that is your biggest problem, Sharon, because I want to know how to do it.
Hang on, you're Sharon.
No, I'm speaking to myself. That's your biggest problem, Sharon.
Right.
Why you can't sort of... Because I make everybody feel like they can't help me and stuff like that, because if something goes wrong, I want to know how to mend it.
Right, do you think...
And I'll learn how to do it. I just think, right, how do I do that? And I will go about it. My toilet flush went, and it's just like, right, This guy said, bless it, I'll come round tomorrow. Oh, you didn't turn up. It's like, right, I'll do it myself. And I went, I used to do it, and I did it.
Right, Roger, is Sharon letting the side down here?
No, I think that's good. That's great. If the women out there can sort of be self-sufficient, that's
It's
brilliant.
just like, I can't wait for somebody else to do it. I'm impatient.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. But you see, when there's in a relationship, the man does like to think that he's got a certain role.
But I feel like I am single because I will do it myself. It's just like, right, I'm not waiting for you to do it. I'll do it myself.
No, that's good. I think there's, the more things that people can do it's all power to their elbow.
But that's just an excuse for you to carry on watching football and... yeah.
And that's why I just think I'd be a huge problem.
The more they can do, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
So the thing is, obviously, you've got a very fine line to walk here, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you've got to relieve the man of the tedium of actually having to do these jobs.
Because I can't, I'm very impatient. I just think that if you can't do it, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll learn how to do it.
Now, there's another example of that, and Rod, you'll know exactly. This will come under one of your headings, Roger. Look at me, Sharon.
Right, I'm looking.
Yeah. Have you ever done this?
Go on.
You sit. Right. I'm sitting there watching the television or reading the paper, and as far as I'm concerned, everything's fine. The wheel's revolving quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes in the room and she says, I've washed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've washed up. In other words, you haven't. Huh? I said, well, I was going to do it in a minute. She said, oh, well, I've done it now. Well, what's... How was I to know you were doing the washing up? Have you never done that yourself? It's like,
no.
No, it's the most appalling form of blackmail imaginable.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. I just think, basically, if you want somebody to do something, ask them to do it.
Yeah.
If they don't do it, I don't know, I don't know. I just think differently from a lot of people. I just think when people, like, sit there and moan about it, it's like, don't moan about it. Do it.
What's your assessment of this situation?
Well, my girlfriend was, before, she met me and all that, she was completely self-sufficient. She could do everything apart from change the bulb in a car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She could do everything herself. And when I've come in to when I've been there and stayed there or whatever, it's as if there's nothing for me to do. She does everything around the house. And
and that's my problem. I just think I make people feel insufficient.
But sometimes if you're a man, it makes you feel as if you haven't got anything to do, really.
Yeah, and I do get it, and I always think, oh my God, I don't know what else to do because I've always done it.
Yeah, I mean, I turn around and say to her, would you like me to do the washing up? And she says, I've already done it. So it makes you think, well...
Yeah, it does. And I think that, I just think your biggest problem is, but I actually enjoy doing stuff. It's just like I've just tiled my bathroom, and I actually quite enjoy doing it.
Yeah, you can get a buzz out of achieving things and doing things around the house, can't you?
Yeah, but I make everybody else feel insufficient.
Well, Sharon, this is extraordinary because you seem to represent what every man is looking for, which is where he can do. Well, if we talk about the lions again, as we were before, he can just sort of swan about, especially in weather like this, while you get on with doing everything, and then when you've tidied up and tiled the bathroom and everything, done a bit of finished the patio, then you can give her a nudge and say, right, I've done all that, and then then the mating can take place.
Yeah,
that's it. That's enough to fill anybody's day.
And I just think, oh my God, I need to stop it, but I can't stop it because that's why I can't like doing it.
Right. Well, listen, it's very interesting that, and I mean, we'll seek some more of Roger's views about that. But
okay.
But you think just hang on a second. You think that it's? Do you think that women should be more reliant on men? Because
I just think I just think when I've heard people like I've seen like my friends in past relationships going, and they won't do this and they won't do that, and I won't do it, and 12 months later it's not done. It's just like, well, do it yourself. It's like, it ain't that hard.
All right then, Mrs. Well, we'll see. We'll see if anybody else has got thoughts about that. And obviously, at this stage, it's for a man to call us on 0161 288 0103, and whether you find the situation that Sharon was describing there, whether you'd feel that you were that you would be disadvantaged there, whether you would feel disempowered. I think we should use some 21st century nonsense words just to give it an air of authenticity, don't you?
That's a good word, yeah.
If you were to come across somebody like Sharon. But you also... No, there's something here. Let me put this to you. You talked about... do you want me to wash up? No, I've already done it. That only lasts so long, doesn't it?
Yeah, it won't be long before she gets fed up with that.
Yeah, and you point out that applies to what was it you describe it as? That there's a lot of things have. Why men are romantic at the start.
At the start, yeah, of course.
Why is that?
This is quite an interesting one. This one. Have you ever noticed how the man at the start of the relationship is buying chocolates and flowers and saying, "Will you come out for a meal?" and "Will you do this? Will you do that?" But after about a year or so down the line, he stops doing all that. And you're lucky if you get a bunch of flowers on Valentine's Day or a box of chocolates on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And why is that? It's because the natural side of him comes to the fore after about a year and a half, and it's like we're Jekyll and Hyde lovers, and the other side comes out, and this is the actual romantic dullard side coming out, and it comes to the fore because at the beginning of the relationship, men can be the most swashbuckling sort of romantics there are. But after about a year and a half, when familiarity starts to set in, they go back to the real, true selves. And that is, watching the TV and maybe not thinking about getting the flowers and boxes of chocolate. Do you find that? Or?
I think that's actually been scientifically measured, hasn't it?
Is it?
That period, actually, I think it is exactly 18 months.
Yeah.
I think a worldwide survey
I'm getting a bit worried because it won't be long before I get to that point myself, because I have been quite good up to now getting flowers and chocolates and things like this in the relationship. But once I reach that point, I wonder if I'm going to if the graph is going to drop off on the romantic activity.
All the evidence would suggest so. I wouldn't. I don't have to worry about that. And it's not just buying flowers and chocolate. It's like being thoughtful, isn't it? It's all part of that. You'll remember that about 6 weeks ago she said, "Oh, I'd always wanted a little enamel model of a frog."
Yeah.
And you see it and you think, "Oh, I get that." And then she says, "Fancy you remembering that." And you're top man, aren't you? That's fantastic.
Many bonus points in the bank, in the affection bank.
And then all that stops.
Yeah.
So this would imply that that men are... It's just sort of move on, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think this is what it is men are they're like salesmen, and they want to keep the numbers up, and they're always looking for the next relationship, really. But the thing is, the reason why it drops away is because faint heart never won fair lady. But once the fair lady's been won, then you don't need to have that activity anymore. So the romantic sort of gestures will sort of cease after a while.
Right.
Which is an unfortunate fact of life, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think most people will say that it is, however unfortunate, is undeniable.
Yeah, I wish it could keep going, really. In fact, it must do in some relationships.
Well, we're going to talk to Donna in Cheadle in a second. Bear with us, Donna, we've got things to do. I'll just remind you, if you've joined us... Well, I won't be reminding you because this will be the first you've heard of it. OK, forget that. I'll start completely from scratch. We're talking to Roger McCartney, who's joined us. He's just published his... how many is it in total? 17? That's an unusual number, isn't it? Is that the way it works out?
No, what it is some of the columns in the book of ones that weren't printed and, new ones that have been added on.
Right. It's a collection of columns which is, if you like, is correspondence from the man's part of the universe to try and explain to the women's half exactly why it is that the sexes are what would you say, different, or The expression I've heard used a lot, and it just sums it up completely, is wired up differently.
Yeah.
Because that says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Hardwired in a different way, but, or out of sync with each other.
Yeah.
Is another one.
As I say, it's something which has been observed over the years, and this is like an explanation. It's an illustration and an attempt at an explanation as to how and why this is the case. 0161 288 0103. If you hear something, if you want to try to shake him, because he says he's quite happy, and not actually not worried, because your point is that whatever attitude, whatever views you express, it doesn't matter. It's no skin off your nose, because it's just nature, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can't be held responsible for.
That's right. And at the end of the day, you can't really deny that some of these things are true. I mean, political correctness as it is, sometimes you know these things are staring us. And if you look at nature, it's going on in nature all the time. And you mentioned the lions and the lionesses, and I try not to be chauvinistic or sexist, but sometimes
it's just
to call it as it is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just right. 0161 288 0103. Come and have a go if you think you are amenable enough. Off to Cheadle in a second. It's, what time is it? Oh, 22:11.
Key 103.
If getting tickets for your favourite festival feels like this,
Yes!
how would it feel to have tickets for every major festival of the summer? Isle of Wight, Spit Chill, Escape into the Park, Wireless, Hyde Park Calling, Chili Peppers at Don Valley, Global Gathering, Summer Sunday, Reading and Leeds Festival. Q Magazine can make it happen. To find out how you can win free tickets to every big festival this summer, including a private chopper to Tea in the Park to see Franz Ferdinand from the side of the stage, get your hands on this month's Q. Win the summer of your life with Q, the Essential Music Guide, out now.
Finger.
Yes, Brian?
Time to put feet through their paces in one of our little back garden kickabout. Together, we body parts are a very fine team, you know. We line the ball up, we slam it into the fence, we line the ball...
Brian? Why is bottom on the ground?
Skybox Office. All you need is a brain and a finger. This week in Goal, a young Mexican boy escapes from a humdrum life in Los Angeles for the trials and temptations that face a professional footballer in Newcastle. Oh, pull the other one. Anyway, there's some bloke called Beckham in it as well. Sky Digital subscribers only. Sky Box Office terms apply.
Brian?
Yes, Finger.
Are all referees blind?
Remember when you first met? You and your car? Even the drive to the shops was fun. Now it's all traffic jams and commutes. So why not rekindle the old spark and take your car to Ireland with Irish Ferries? And if sunsets on a Connemara beach or Kerry's wild mountain passes don't do the trick, dump it for a new model. Fares to Ireland start from an amazing £59 one way for a car and driver, including all taxes. Book online today at irishferries.com, the low fares ferry company.
1,400 text messages and 100 minutes per month on any Orange Pay monthly mobile phone. When you join the Dolphin £30 package in June.
Sounds good, doesn't it? So for 1,400 texts and 100 minutes per month on the Dolphin £30 package, visit your local Orange shop this weekend. Subject to an 18-month contract, 1,400 texts for 6 months and 1,200 texts for 12 months. Ends 30th of June 2006. Terms apply.
What now? Kiteboarding site. I was bombing it downhill daftly when a Mackie gust of wind flipped me up into the air as the tornado fiercely whipped me.
Sometimes you have to see something to believe it. Like 500 minutes, 100 texts and 3 months half-price line rental on the latest Nokia 6280. That's just £17.50 a month at your local Vodafone store.
My nerves were on fire.
Ever thought about knitting?
Do you know how difficult it is to correct a stitch without unravelling a row?
Subject to availability in connection to a minimum term contract. Conditions apply.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, James H. Reeve here on Key 103. Biggest phone in the northwest. We've got to be careful with the phrasing of that, but I think broadly speaking, that's what it is. And Donna in Cheadle, you're on Key 103. You're talking to Roger McCartney.
Tape it.
Oi!
Hello.
Hello? Oh, don't come putting your telephone voice on now. We just caught you there. You're in common. Donna.
Yeah.
Right, come on, you're on.
Right. I don't know what to say to you now. I'm nervous. I'm outside in the back garden actually at the moment, flagging, and I was listening to your show and I found it very interesting. And I thought, well,
What do you mean flagging?
I'm doing some flagging. I'm flagging my patio.
Right, that's brilliant.
I wonder what that meant.
Well, you see, yeah, flagging. I didn't know whether you meant flagging physically.
No, I've got plenty of flags out as well.
Right. I just must point out, Roger is from. Are you from Bury St Edmunds?
Bury St Edmunds,
right. So do you not call them flags?
No, I've never heard that.
Flagstones.
Oh, right.
My son calls them slags, not flags.
Oh, I'm not sure that was called for, actually, Donna. Anyway, yeah. You know the expression, the sun's been cracking the flags today.
No.
Oh, hey, they think they can teach us something, don't they, Donna?
Well, it is about your multitasking as well. I mean, that's quite true. And it is a shame that women are different from men. I don't think really. I don't think you can say that women are different from men. I think that it's an individual thing, really. Some men. I mean, my boyfriend, when I started courting him, he couldn't do enough. He was building me a shed, and we were building things together and everything. And then, like a few years down the line, he's just stopped doing everything now. He doesn't do anything to help me.
Well, you're playing right into Roger's hands here, because his theories cover that perfectly.
I think there's about 3 different theories that were endorsed there on that one. But you found that his sort of romantic overtures have dropped away, have you?
Yeah, I think they do the best they can to be somebody different. That they're not really who they say they are. They're somebody different and nice, and they can't do enough for you. Then all of a sudden, when they've got you, they don't have to work as hard, do they?
I think this is true, and but this is true from both sides. I think at the start of a relationship that people do put their best foot forward and to win the other person, and I think that comes from both sides, doesn't it? But sometimes the men are a little bit more transparent somewhere down the line.
Somewhere down the line.
I think women sustain that side of things longer than men, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Do you find that, Donna?
Sustain is a word I'm not very familiar with.
You carry on still doing little thoughtful things, and I've made us a nice dinner and...
Oh, well, yeah, I took a couple of wheelbarrows full of soil down to his house to make his garden nice. I took a load of grass in my car.
Oh, this is like Pride and Prejudice, isn't it? Yes.
No, I did all these things, and then all of a sudden he's doing a couple of things like carpet fitting for me, and he gets on the phone and he tells me that he's worked his, off for me. And I said, yeah, we've both worked very hard for each other. I've done things for him, he's done things for me, but he had to remind me of what he did for me. Because, again, he can't multitask. I can multitask. And if I ask him to do something for me, he'll say, oh, in a minute, I'll get that in a minute. And a minute will go by, and another minute will go by, and I think sometimes he just doesn't like being... I wasn't telling him what to do, I was asking him nicely. And it doesn't matter how nicely I ask him, he won't jump up and do it. He'll wait till he's ready.
Roger, why would two people see that as... Why would there be two completely different interpretations of that?
I think that the woman is very good at sort of organising everything, and it could be down to the fact that men are traditionally the people that go out to work and earn the money and all that.
That's right.
And the women are the nest makers, if you will. And this is why they sort of organise everything in the house. And they're very good at that.
But the thing is I'm good at everything. I can flag, I can build walls, I can do tiling, I can decorate, and I do all these things, and I do them because I enjoy doing them. And obviously, when I met my boyfriend, he had all the same ideas as well. He liked doing, and we do work really well together. When we're together, we work really well. But when we're not working, we don't seem to get on. we don't seem to gel. It's only when we're working together we seem to do well.
Well, we've had a text message here, and it's actually, in actual fact, Donna, it's referring to Sharon, who was on earlier. But I would imagine that you would now be included as well, because it said that Sharon is every man's dream.
Certainly sounds it.
This show, I think this is from the late Sid James. He said, "What a super bird." Not an expression that's it's a bit frowned on these days, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. And Don Brennan, I very much doubt that it's him, says, "I think the comment that men prefer natural breasts to implants holds water. I prefer a massive pair of jubblies to fake ones."
Well, at the moment, mine are slowly disappearing. Because I'm losing that much weight, and I think I'm suffering from a broken heart, actually. Something like that.
Well, flagging takes your mind off it, I always
That's
find.
right, exactly. Just get stuck in. I've got plenty to do. I've got a big party on Saturday.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's going to be worth everything. And, well...
Can I just ask, Donna, are you just putting them on a sharp sand, or are you 5-spotting?
On the sharp sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not putting 5 spots down? Just on, yeah. No. All right, it'll be okay. Right, if it's for light wear, that's all. Yeah, just checking, you know.
They're a bit rocky. They're a bit rocky and wibbly-wobbly, but they'll do for now.
That's all right, yeah, lovely. All right, missus, much obliged. That was Donna in Cheadle, 0161 288 0103. If you want to talk to Roger McCartney and to me, because I feel that I'm required to be impartial here, represent both points of view. But I do find that what he says makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. 0161 288 0103. The working title, Because I'm a Caveman, That's Why, which is the answer, I think, really, to most questions that a woman will ask.
Well, a lot of them,
Yeah.
And that's what it's intended to be, really. So it's informative and amusing at the same time.
Right. I was just thinking, actually, that this question arises about women multitasking and all the rest of it. Again, I find, why is this that if, say, a DVD needs tuning, why is it that the woman thinks the best way to do it is to tut a lot and stab wildly at the various buttons, as if somehow the correct programming will occur, whereas a bloke will say, "Now hang on a minute, connect, insert SCART into A, and we'll do it that way." But the woman will, and the annoying thing is that while you're carefully reading the instructions and working out how to do it, somehow it bloody well does it through a haphazard method.
Well, there's two ways of getting a DVD working, isn't there? There's one, follow the instructions, the other one, give it a good bang, or just press all the buttons and they will work eventually. But it's all to do with the different parts of our brain, isn't it? It's the organisational skills. Women are not supposed to be able to read maps and things like this and instruction booklets, whereas men can. And this is why I don't know if that's sexist to say that, but it's a fact of life, isn't it?
No, you see, a defence for something being sexist is if it's true.
Yeah, huh? Yeah. And there must be some things that might not sound correct, but they are actually true.
On the other side of the geography one is that, and yet men won't ask the way.
This is
and no, teams of scientists have been trying to find out why, and they don't know yet.
It's pride, isn't it?
0161 288 0103. PJ is in Rochdale. Right now, so we'll get a man's point of view now. Let's see what goes on. Hello, PJ. Don't you let me down, you Herbert. All right, he has then, right.
Gone, has he?
Yeah, I don't know whether he's gone, or even if he was ever there in the first place. It must be a figment of our imagination. I've been prompted by Jackie, who you've met, and who seems to feel that it's her role to speak at this point, about the cheating aspect.
Oh, yes.
By which, presumably, that means infidelity.
Why men cheat.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the chapter in the book. The good news is that not all men cheat, but some do not have the inclination or the testicular fortitude. But the bad news is that the rest of the male population are either thinking about cheating, or in the middle of a cheat. So why do we cheat? I think it's something to do with our evolutionary roots and the spreading of the seed over as wide a population and area as possible, and we're always looking for the next partner. I know that excuse is so 2 million years ago, but I think it is actually true in this case. And it's just about trying to get the numbers up and spread the seed over as wide an area as possible. Also, it doesn't take a lot to make a man feel inadequate, and if he hasn't had enough sex in his life, he feels inadequate. So he's always looking for extra sort of sex to make him not feel inadequate.
Is that right?
I think women don't really have that feeling where they feel sort of inadequate in that way, but men do. Because I've certainly felt inadequate in my life enough times.
But isn't a man not supposed to admit that?
Well, maybe not, but just between me and you, you know.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah.
And finally, the thrill of the chase. And for some reason, men are very chase-orientated, and they love the thrill of the chase, and they'll pursue, a relationship until they've sort of clinched the deal. Again, bringing up the salesman sort of analogy.
Yeah.
And once they've clinched the deal, then they move on to the next one. So it's chase all the time is where they get the thrill from.
Right. I mean, this is very interesting. I know that what you've done in these columns is put it in 21st century terms about sitting waiting outside the changing room, which we've all done. We've all done, haven't we? Wow. Oh, wishing that you were just dead. It's murder.
Yeah.
But a lot of the discussions which take place about this sort of thing, they are actually primeval, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean that's why the book's called Because I'm a Caveman.
Yeah.
That's why it all links back to caveman times. And once again, if people say that our behaviour doesn't link back to caveman times, or I had one caller ring in once and say that we're trying to get away from being like cavemen, and there's this guy saying that we're like cavemen, But the thing is that we spent such a long time of our history actually living in caves that it stands to reason that behaviour that we've got now, behavioural patterns, must have something to do with that time.
Well, this is getting very serious now, but if you assume that since we are animals, or let's put it another way, just a life form, that everything is designed to survive.
Yeah.
And it does in a certain way. In other words, the male tries to fertilise as many females in as short a possible time as it can, and so on and so forth. And that applies to plants and animals and everything. And whatever other social aspects might develop, you can't override that essential programming.
Yeah, and that's what we're all here for, isn't it?
So it would appear.
To procreate, and the enjoyment we get from life is doing it. But I think that the human beings, or the human race, is always trying to put themselves apart from animals and say, no, we're nothing to do with animals. We're not like apes. We didn't, we're above that. Our behaviour's above that. But at the end of the day, we're just the most advanced animal on the planet, aren't we?
Right.
So
looking around you, sometimes you wonder, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we're not the most advanced, but
I'd put the giant panda a considerable distance ahead of us, actually.
Yeah, although they haven't quite mastered the art of procreation yet, have they?
No, and you see, so it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Yeah.
But they can have fun trying. I noticed they try a lot. But there was a picture in the paper, wasn't there? I don't know if you saw that. It was probably yesterday. And the two pandas were going at it, and they were sort of completely at the wrong angles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they were saying, we've got to keep trying, we'll get it right one day.
I'll tell you in a second that there's a cartoon. You're not, you don't subscribe to the magazine Private Eye, do you, at all?
I have read it in the past.
Right, I got this week's. I'll tell you, we'll do it in a second, because I'm not a man given to laughing out loud frequently, but there's a cartoon, a photo caption thing in today, which made me laugh a great deal, and it's not unconnected with what we've been talking about. I'll just give you a reminder, what we have been talking about is Because I'm a Caveman, the collected works of Roger McCartney, which touch on, they feel like they are reporting back to Women's HQ about what the world looks like from a man's point of view. Is that a fair enough
very well dressed up indeed.
Assessment?
I should put that on the blurb, what you've just said.
Okay then, yeah, so just give me a small credit.
Yeah, I'll give you a £5.
Thank you. 0161 288 0103. If you're following this, then give us a tinkle. Yeah, if there's some, I mean that's quite a contentious point there. Can our programming, which we must have in us, can our programming be overridden by our sophisticated, in some cases anyway, social setup? Can they be subjugated by those, or will we always revert to type? 0161 288 0103. Back in a tick, it's just about 11:11.
The biggest football tournament in the universe is just around the corner.
England in front, thank goodness for that! Will England go through to Germany 2006?
And you could score your own FIFA World Cup 2006 package with the news of the world and Key 103. Listen to Steve Peng from 9 a.m. this Sunday and bag yourself a widescreen TV, mini fridge and loads of England gear. Win with World Cup Score, the definitive guide to the World Cup, only with the news of the world and Key 103.
He'd come in my room and touch me. He said it was normal and kept buying me presents. I was confused, because I thought it must happen to everyone. It went on for ages until I told someone. I felt better just being able to talk about it. If it's happened to you, when you're ready, visit the NSPCC website, don'thideit.com, or call Childline on 0800 1111. Remember, if you've been sexually abused, you don't have to hide it anymore.
Oh, Robert, could you come and give me a hand in the bedroom? I'm just trying on this new maid's outfit, but it seems a little tight. Robert?
Pro Plus! It beats nodding off.
Relieves temporary tiredness, contains caffeine, always read the label.
Here's the deal. At Sainsbury's, packs of 4 chicken fillets are $5.99 each. Pick up 2 and you can save an incredible £5. Here's the idea. Brush the fillets with olive oil, sprinkle with paprika and oregano for a very Mediterranean flavour. Now how good does that sound? Sainsbury's. Try something new today.
This is the Stories self-titled album. Wonderful songs and instinctively beautiful harmonies. An incredibly accomplished debut album. Includes the singles Be By Your Side and Cinnamon. A band with live performances not to be missed. Catch the Stories on the road with Elton John this summer. The Stories album is a perfectly polished jade. It's out now.
You know, there's broadband and there's broadband. And I don't want basic broadband. I want state-of-the-art ultra-secure broadband. 18 stone take a bullet for your bodyguard broadband. I want Fort Knox high-tech infrared electric fence broadband. I want steel-reinforced broadband, deadbolt broadband. I want bomb-proof, bear-trap, black belt broadband. I want safe as houses, sleep well at night, pack of Dobermans, prowling the grounds broadband.
With BT you get more than just the basics. Choose one of our best ever broadband packages with Norton antivirus software to help protect you. Call 0800 032 7939. Subject to availability and survey. BT line required. Conditions apply.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, off to Ashton in a second. Before we do though, Roger, I'll just tell her this. I don't care, don't mind spoiling it because it's a beauty. This on the subject of infidelity, cheating. In Private Eye, which this week's copy is available today. And it's got that picture of John Prescott and his members of his staff playing croquet, with which you're familiar.
Yeah.
And there's a caption, one of the figures is saying, put your balls here and I'll hit them with this mallet. And John Prescott is on the other side of the picture, and there's a think bubble coming out of his head, and he said, that's funny, that's exactly what the wife said. Now that did make me laugh.
That's good.
Which brings us neatly to the subject of infidelity, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we covered it and why men cheat, but I just think that it's something that men have a propensity to do more than women, and it's just men seem to cheat more than women. I don't know. I mean, I know there are women out there that cheat, and some of them have been my partners over the years, but it just seems to be something that men have got a thing about doing, haven't they? And women not so much, but they still do it.
Obviously, I must reply in my role as impartial host of these proceedings. Let's see what Richard in Ashton wants. Richard, you're on Key 103.
Hello.
Ricardo, what can we do for you, son?
I think it goes a bit deeper than just purely the men-women thing. Evolutionary-wise, pretty much the woman looks after the kids once they've had kids. She's out to find the best possible partner. Once that happens, her role is to look after the offspring. The fella's role, in whatever evolutionary, animalistic way you want to look at it, is then to go and produce more offspring with another partner. And somewhere along the lines, the fittest will survive. We're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place these days, in that that's what people tend to do, i.e. the fellas are more inclined to go off and have an affair, the women are more inclined to stay at home, try and find another partner who's prepared to look after their existing offspring, etc. And yet we've had this thing recently saying, well, hang on a minute, let's have the new male, the caring male, etc. But that kind of flies in the face of what's happened in an evolutionary manner. So you end up with fellas where the romanticism initially is part of this. It's a bit like the peacock with his feathers. It's all the display to try and get the best female of the time, or at least that they're capable of getting. And then the minute that's over, they've mated, it's right, now let's go and find the next one. Apart from suddenly society saying, well, hang on a minute, that's wrong, that's not what you're supposed to do anymore. It's happened for the last few million years, but all of a sudden, now you're supposed to stick with that partner. You're not supposed to go off. The female's supposed to expect more than that. How the hell is that supposed to work? Because all of a sudden this, and fashion says it all anyway, all of a sudden this new male was supposed to fit the bill. But it's not quite what people wanted. It didn't work in terms of trying to get females. The bloke doing the ironing was sexy for all of about a fashion season, and then it all stopped.
You know, you're right. I was reading this, that all that new man, all this big muscly blokes cuddling babies in commercials and all that, that blew itself out, didn't it, after a very short time?
Yeah, but it's kind of, we're now kind of stuck between that and where we were originally. And I think it's kind of a species sort of evolutionary stage, if you like, in that now it's perhaps more beneficial to form those partnerships for life. But, and certainly society in a way views it that way, but at the same time it's saying, well, divorce, infidelity, yeah, that's all part of the parcel. Let's make that a bit easier. But it's not actually what people want, hence why they complain about it. And I think this is why traditionally the blokes have basically done what was needed to provide for the offspring initially, and then buggered off and had some new offspring. And suddenly it's like, well, no, hang on a minute, you're not supposed to do that anymore. And it's like, oh right, but this is what my genes for the last few million years have been telling me to do. The women are saying, well, you know, you're not supposed to sit on your backside and go outside and play for somebody else. You're supposed to be looking after your offspring. And the males are saying, well, hang on a minute, you're basically doing what you've been doing for the last few million years, and we're suddenly supposed to fit in with that and do what society expects. And it's not necessarily saying this is right or this is wrong, it's just that particularly the blokes are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're in this kind of evolutionary development stage.
Roger, go on.
Well, yeah, I couldn't agree more. He should have written the book for me.
It'd be nice, but I've got a paintbrush in my hand. I don't think anybody'd be able to read it.
I think he says everything that I say.
So far, we've had somebody flagging, somebody painting, and what else?
Where are they when I'm stuck here with my paintbrush on?
Well, hey, I can give you the addresses of 2 women who'd suit you down to the ground, mate.
So long as they don't moan because they're having to do it because I'm not doing it. Because that's the other thing, is blokes are traditionally lazy in the middle. Evolutionary-wise, they go out, they have new kids, then they go and lounge in the sun until next time it comes round to me.
Yeah.
And that, again, is suddenly not expected anymore because of this new role. You're supposed to look after the house, you're supposed to do this, but that traditionally has been a female role. Go out, make the new den, drag the kids over to the new den, etc. And suddenly that's now a bloke's role. Well, a bloke doesn't want to do that. He wants to go out, procreate, have kids, bring the food home for him and his immediate offspring while that situation lasts. And then go and lounge in the bloody sun and have a toy fight.
I think you're actually inflating the role of the males of certain species there.
Possibly, but
some of them don't mate, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's the point, is that certainly primates tend to look after their own until people are old enough to look after themselves, etc. But then that's it, that's the job done. Their offspring are into the world, my job done, let's go and find another mate. Yeah. And suddenly, at that stage, you're supposed to say, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to just sit at home and relax and do nothing.
Of course you do.
And it's,
like any sensible person. Yeah.
You're not allowed anymore, and that's the difference between women have never been allowed to do that in effect, or female species or whatever. So it's kind of genetically inbred.
Yeah, what you're describing is what I think. I think we could conveniently, well, as a way of shorthand, we could refer to it as the good old days. That's the expression I would use. Roger, go on. You've been listening to Richard going on there. What springs to mind as you listen to his description?
Well, I think he sums it up perfectly. He's put it in a very scientific way, but he sort of...
Well, there's a way around that, isn't there?
Yeah. But he's stripped it completely bare of the humour of the situation, which is what I try and inject into it. But the actual backbone of the truth going through it that he's got there is perfect. But one of the things I've heard as well is that the offspring sometimes look like the father, in order to keep the father there, interested in the offspring. So they'll the firstborn or the newly born child looks like the father to keep the father there and look after the children. That's a theory that
that's
I've heard.
Sort of a zoological.
Yeah. So this is why that you often find that babies look like the father.
That's extraordinary.
It's one thing that I heard on Radio Cambridge when I was on there.
Oh, well, that's where I shall turn to in future.
The BBC.
Yeah, well, you probably get a lot of Don emeritus professors in there,
yeah,
don't we? Oh, we don't get many of them in here. Here's a case in point. It's Jackie who presumably has got views on this.
I was interested to hear what you were saying about why men cheat. Yeah. And as a female, I'd say it just sounds like an excuse.
An excuse. But the thing is there was three good reasons I gave. So.
Well, good reason. There's still excuses.
Yeah, but it all goes back to, as we've just been saying, about the evolutionary heritage that we've got. There's something in the mix there that's coming forward and is making us sort of behave in this way.
But today, how far really can you say, well, yeah, we used to be cavemen, etc., and apply it today when there's no need to, really? You can have a lifetime partner and go through life without hurting them to the extent you do when you end up cheating on them. Yeah. And it's to your detriment, really, because you'll never end up with someone for any great length of time.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I do actually like to be in a long-term relationship, but I'm just saying that the inclination is there, and it's something that we have to put on hold and try and fight, And I think it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not an excuse. If the programming is there, look, I mean, how many species can you name? And they are quite well known because everyone goes, oh, isn't that amazing? Isn't it ducks or swans form pair bonds for life? And the very fact that is pointed out shows that they are the exception.
Yeah.
And all other mammals, as far as I know, work on the principle of a male and several females.
But you see what I mean when you use those examples and you use the programming idea, that it's a nice way for you to hold your hands up and say, so it's all right, I'm programmed to do it.
No, I'm not. No, that's looking at it through the wrong end of the telescope. That I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm saying it is the case, but it is then portrayed as an excuse when it doesn't suit because of our socialisation.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So the fact is, after all this time, we cannot get over. Look, how many millions of years have we been recognisable as human beings, and yet all sorts of things that we've not needed for hundreds of thousands of years, we've still got.
Yes.
And those things don't disappear. Well, they certainly don't disappear overnight. They may never disappear ever, ever. So you can make the decision. Look at it this way. You may.
That's it. You can make a decision.
Well, yeah. Well,
and you can make a decision not to.
Right. Well, of course. But the point is, why do you have to make a decision? Why does the situation arise where you have to decide: should I be unfaithful or should I not?
Yeah, I understand what you mean by
and
that.
That's because something within you responds. Stop giggling now. Come on, we're all supposed to be grown up here. Right, going tee hee hee, put your hand over your mouth. Right. Because as Roger was saying, there's a sort of predictable period when your physical attraction starts to decline, and that's a clock ticking, isn't it? And there are supposed to be very good biological reasons for that, because in the wild, the woman's eggs are deteriorating, and to increase the chances of procreation.
Yeah, but there's no need to do it today.
No, there's no need. No, there's no need to. You can decide not to.
Yeah, but why do men decide to?
Well,
cheat.
Because that's the decision. But you are given.
You
are offered the choice. You are genetically offered the choice. You can't help that. But for social reasons, you can decide not to, if you so wish.
But what about when you decide to?
Well, I'm saying, that's your decision. But the point is, why do you...
You can't give that...
Listen! Why do you have... What I'm saying is, if socialisation could overcome...
Right.
Programming...
Yes.
Then you would never have to make
you're saying that it
No,
can
I'm not saying anything at the moment,
decision.
because you've just bloody well interrupted
me. You're saying
me.
It's a decision.
Yes,
right.
Which it is.
Yeah.
So, if you'll allow me to finish, it works like this. If socialisation could overcome programming... Come on, Roger, back me up here, son.
I think you're doing a brilliant job.
All right. Yeah. Next year.
I can't shout louder than that. Yeah.
Why blokes say this? Nothing to do with me, pal.
You go.
Right. If socialisation could overcome conditioning...
Right.
could overcome programming...
Right.
Then you wouldn't find yourself having to make that decision. The very fact that the occasion arises when you have to make that decision shows you how powerful the programming is. Now, you can allow your socialisation to dictate your choice in those circumstances.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
So... Back to my original question, as to you can decide therefore to cheat.
Yeah.
And
no, that was the answer. That was the answer.
Your theory is that the answer to that is because
you obviously don't
the difference between socialisation and programming.
No, that was the answer. The answer. What I've just given you was the answer.
Sense.
Yeah, well, yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Roger?
Because you're not.
I don't know. So I'm too confused now.
You're stepping outside. The other thing I wanted to ask Roger about is. Male PMT, but I think we should have a break and think about that.
I think we should, yeah. Heavens.
Weren't expecting that one. That's not a chapter in the book.
Right. Now, I'll just show... apparently, if a lobster is able to have one partner for life, and we are meant to be smarter than lobsters. Okay. Right. And also, Jackie, don't be silly. We all know you'd take a good seeing to over the desk for a pay rise.
I wouldn't.
Right. Well, don't commit yourself.
No.
Right. It's 17 minutes past 11. This is James H. Reeve and various other people on Key 103, not all of whom were expected to be here at this point. But Roger McCartney's here. Caveman. Well, a caveman for the 21st century. 0161 288 0103. We're talking about the differences, the undeniable differences between men and women, and I suppose how we treat them.
Yeah.
She's gone now.
She's gone.
Can't they talk?
Thank God for that.
Oh,
that's got to be one of the differences between the sexes. They can't have.
Oh, can't they? Eh?
All.
Just right. 0161 288 0103. We'll talk to a Hillman in a second, and also got some more text messages to do. Thank you.
Coolin' in the morning on Key 103.
Today's the big day of the scan. I was watching the England training session, and I think I might have shouted, "Be careful, Wayne," about 15 times.
Were you like a nervous mother?
I was like the owner of a Stradivarius violin who just handed it over to a gorilla. And I was like, I just have to be careful with that.
Our new IKEA store opens in Ashton-under-Lyne in October, and we're already assembling our team. We're looking for all kinds of people to work in sales, catering, customer service, warehouse and administration. In return, we offer a great working environment and flexible hours to suit your lifestyle. Putting a great team together isn't easy. So we're holding the IKEA job fair next week, so we can all get to meet each other. We'll be at the new Oxford Park Sports Hall, Pottinger Street, Ashton-under-Lyne, from the 12th to the 17th of June, 10 until 8. That's the new Oxford Park Sports Hall, Pottinger Street, Ashton-under-Lyne. See you there.
You know, there's broadband, and there's broadband. And I don't want any broadband. I want fast broadband. I want rapid flowing torrential broadband. Hurricane broadband. I want fleet of winged foot messenger of the gods broadband. I want broadband off a shovel. I want screeching tyres, Mach 10, teeth rattling with the G-force broadband. I want straight off the blocks broadband. Lose your gold medal after a urine test broadband. I want supersonic, stealth fighter, liquid nitrogen fueled, cleared for lift-off broadband.
With BT you get more than just the basics. We now offer up to 8 meg broadband to more addresses than ever before. It's our best ever broadband package. Call 0800 032 7939. 8 meg download speed, subject to local availability and survey. BT line required, conditions apply.
Okay, give me the results.
Tractor production, down. Beetroot yield, down. Cabbage...
Enough! Why are they so lazy?
We suspect Monarch's Revolutionary Bargain Hunter Service, sir.
Ah, yes. Where you can find all their cheapest fares. Not that I would use such a decadent service.
Oh, of course not, sir. Nor enjoy the extras like allocated seating and free newspapers.
What? The salt mines need more people, you know.
Bargain hunt your breaks at flymonarch.com.
Oh, you see, I'm not sure whose fault that was, but it doesn't matter. Let's not play the blame game. Because I strongly suspect it was me. Anyway, it's 20 past 11, and we've done him, haven't we? What was I going to say? I've completely forgotten what I was going to say, which is unfortunate. Right. We've got it'll come to me. James, is she here? No, she's not. Right.
You can say it.
Hey?
You can say it.
Okay. Interesting question. Ask Jack. Oh, dear. Hi, and that's how they make steel.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
James, ask Jackie then, why do women cheat?
Why do women cheat?
Why do women cheat?
Probably as revenge.
Oh, come along.
Probably as revenge. I honestly can't say I know any of my female friends who have cheated, but what I do know is if their partner has, they thought, well, sod him, off I go, or they split up with them. I don't think many women do cheat. And Roger said that before. I don't think many women do.
Not as many. I'm very puzzled by these statistics which come out from time to time, which say 71% of men have been unfaithful, but only 44% of women. Well, how does that work out?
Because a priority.
I just thought the numbers would have been entirely equal. I've got that DVD at home. That's
right. Yeah.
Called Outnumbered.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
Different priorities, I think. I think women are quite happy to be in a long-standing, stable relationship, or as stable as they think it is, until one day they pick up the partner's phone and see messages, from other women, or however they find out that the partner's been cheating. And then they'll move on, and it'll happen to them again, maybe. I don't know, until they find someone decent. But I don't know why men... I've found it hard to... I don't understand why men cheat. It's one of those things I think many women find difficult to understand.
Well, you see, what you're illustrating now, Jackie, is women's inability to understand the straightforward answer to a question. Because I've just explained, I think, in meticulous detail.
No.
And if Roger knew what was good for him, he'd be nodding sagely in agreement with me now.
Right,
nodding.
Yeah, right.
You're the governor.
Yeah, I've just explained. They do because they choose to. But, and haven't I already said this once?
You did say it.
Yeah, they do. Thanks, Rog. Can I call you Rog?
You can.
Yeah, because
Still getting very friendly.
they have to make that decision.
Exactly, it's a decision.
God, no, wait until I've finished that bloody sentence.
I've already heard all of this.
Then why isn't it sinking in? That's another thing about women, isn't it?
It doesn't sink in.
What are you talking about? It doesn't sink in.
Let me explain.
What doesn't sink in?
Let me explain once more.
How patronising.
No, let me explain once more.
What is it about men who just repeat themselves over and over again?
Because you have to do in order to get women to understand you.
No, don't talk in a slower voice.
It's just no good.
God's sake. I knew this was a bad idea.
Ah, James, Jackie's great. Being a bloke myself, she talks more sense. Oh, well, that's just it. I can't handle the logic of that one. That's all. It's all over the show. James, I'd never be unfaithful to you despite the wig. Oh, ha, 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 ha. And women really do talk too much. It makes you wonder why God didn't create women with a mute button.
That's lovely. Really nice.
Okay. And various other matters. Anyway, have we had any email?
Yes, we've had a few emails, yes. This is on the subject of why men and women can't just be friends.
We haven't done that one, have we?
No, of course.
Andrew says, I think men can't just be friends with women because they're only interested in servicing. I think he means servicing them. Maybe.
Yes, yeah.
So that's one point of view. James, women...
Oh, not like doing an MOT then?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Women can just be friends because you look ugly and you could never pull a bird and Jackie's your friend. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, it couldn't have done with reading through before on that one, really.
Well, it still won't make any sense, I don't think. That's silly. This is about Jaffa cakes. That's something.
Put that in the pending basket then, the Jaffa cakes.
None of those are any interest, actually. But men and women being friends. Why can't men and women just be friends?
Well, it's quite... Do you want the long answer or the short answer? How long have you got?
Let's have the entertaining answer.
What it is that men don't do platonic very well. And one of the things is if they ever establish a friendship with a woman, they're always looking at the next stage. They're looking to pull her. And the more successful the friendship is, the more likely it is that they're going to be looking to take it another step further. Now, women have, in my experience, are unable to understand this. But I don't know if you can understand it, James.
Go.
My philosophy on this one comes back to a woman I used to work with, and we used to go to the pub at lunchtime because we used to share an interest in getting mildly inebriated at lunchtime during the lunch break. And I always wanted to. She was, as if for all intents and purposes, she was a workmate, but I always wanted to take it a step further, but I couldn't because she was in a relationship and her boyfriend was like 6'10", and it just wasn't going to work.
And women don't cheat, so yeah.
And but we used to go out.
Don't interrupt the narrative flow.
Go on.
We used to go out every day, and I used to look longingly over the table at her, and she used to look longingly at me for another white wine spritzer. But it went on for 3 years, and it was just one of them things where I wanted to sort of take it a step further, but couldn't. And she just thought of me as a friend.
But isn't that because perhaps you just fancied her?
Yeah, but the thing is that once a man gets into a friendship, he will tend to fancy. At some stage, he's going to tend to fancy her.
So if you...
It's the womanizer coming out, you know.
Oh, so it's our fault?
No, it's the womanising sort of in the man.
Oh, I see what you mean. So if you strike up a friendship with a lady who perhaps isn't the most attractive, say.
Yeah.
Are you saying eventually you're going to want to take that friendship to the next stage?
Yeah, because if you can get to the friendship level, then that's just one step away from next level. So if once you're at the friendship stage with a woman or a lady, you're only one short hop away from the next stage. So you're going to be looking, I'll get on well with her in that regard. So why can't I sort of go out with her as
Sleep
well?
with her.
This is what they said in the film with that guy. What's it?
Oh, my mate does this. where
Billy Crystal.
When Harry met Sally. Yeah.
But isn't
it's
it,
a theory that he sort of put forward in the film, isn't it?
is that the conquering aspect though, that you just want to conquer it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is. If the friendlier they are with you, the more likely you think, well, this can be sort of my next girlfriend here.
Or is it because your ego's tickled and you think
Yeah, and I
she
think
fancies me?
Yeah, I think
she's being friendly.
there is something to do with the ego coming out as well, because male ego is quite sort of big. And, you know, I mean, sometimes I think I've met the one if a woman lets me out in traffic, so...
So should I, therefore, based on that, be worried slightly about my male friends?
Yeah, I would think so, but always check to see if there's a glint in the eye, a glint in the eye, or a twinkle in his eye when he looks at you.
How do I know?
Just be careful of your male friends is basically what I'm saying, but... I mean, do you agree with me on this one, James?
Well, I'm trying to imagine a situation where I worked with a woman that I liked.
No, still nothing, no?
No immediate threat, no. Andy in Burnage says, how do you fix a woman's watch? No need to, there's a clock on the oven. I got a feeling it's going to be one of those nights, right? This is, And this is, I don't know who this is from, it says, unless it's what a woman wants to hear, it goes in one ear and out the other. Would you concur with that?
Yeah.
I'm quite pleased at the way it's descending into, cheap intersexual, and instead transsexual then, intersexual, gratuitous offence. I think that's brilliant. Nothing wrong with that, is there? Lightens things up, yeah.
But I mean, I think what you've done, Jackie, is you've taken a lot of the things that I say as 100% gospel serious.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that there is reasons why we do behave in a certain way, but we do have the choice of fighting it or blocking it. And so if we've got this program in us to sort of cheat or
lie,
fancy our women friends or whatever, or lie, we've got the choice to actually block it. We've got that sort of ability.
But my question...
Not all men are able to sort of block it.
It still is, yeah. Why? Why can't you block it?
Because
and then you go back to that excuse of it's programming, which is a crap excuse.
No, it's not. It's not.
Is.
Hang on. Isn't... Right.
How would you feel if it was the other way around?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does.
No, it doesn't matter.
It does. How would you feel?
You've already had the answer.
A long-standing girlfriend or wife or partner of yours turned around and said, do you know what? I've been having an affair for the past 5 years, and sorry about that. It's just in my genes, programming. Would you accept that and say, oh, well, yeah, fair enough?
No, nobody is asking anyone to accept that. No, you see, that's the trouble. There are some things women just don't understand.
Oh, that's an easy way out, isn't it? Just to say that.
Yeah. Now, at the risk of repeating myself, well, no, actually, in total certainty of repeating myself, no one is suggesting that is acceptable.
Right.
No one is suggesting that, except you.
But you're using it as reasoning.
No, I'm using it as part of the explanation, which is a different thing. Which is a different thing.
No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's not. No, it isn't.
No,
explanation, reason, it's the same thing.
We're getting bogged down now. I'm not using it as a reason. I am using it as part of the explanation.
Right, which is the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. I'm using it as part of the explanation.
Carry on.
Okay.
Oh, there's someone calling. Hold on.
Yes. At this stage, it's probably a good idea if you went and did what it says in your contract. Anyway, Roger. Yes, there was something that we agreed you were definitely going to talk about before she came in, disrupting things.
Well, what I was going to say is following on from what Jackie was saying, basically, that women always, not always, but sometimes they purport this image that women are blameless and that they don't cheat, and that they've always got this holier than thou sort of way of looking at things.
Absolutely.
That we men are always the bastards, and they're
he
if
said,
I can use that word.
Yeah, he's spreading his wings now. Oh.
And that they're completely blameless. But the thing of it is that, you know, I mean, in my experience, that women do these things that as well as what we.
And, do you know, I'm just experiencing what I think the French call it l'esprit de l'escalier. That's English for what you wish you'd said.
Yeah.
Right? Just wait till she comes back in here, because then women haven't even got the excuse that it's programmed into them, have they? They can't even offer that excuse.
No, that's true.
It's a cold-blooded decision on their part.
Yeah. They'll probably say it's behaviour copying or something. It's some sort of excuse.
Yeah.
To use the excuse word again.
I'll just remind you, by the way, it's what time is it now? Not far off 25 minutes to 12. We're talking to Roger McCartney, who is the well, he's spent some time as the, I suppose you could be described as the foreign correspondent of the female sex, reporting back from the male world.
Yeah, not always received too well either, by judging by the grilling that Jackie was trying to give us there.
Yeah, but she's a bit of an exception, really. But you were explaining to women what it's like to see the world from a man's point of view.
Yeah, and my columns and my.
This was a column in Woman magazine. And what reaction did you get from the readers?
Well, I think they were pretty shaken up by it. I think they had a good laugh at all the bits and bobs that went down in the column. They had a good laugh at it, but once again, it does tend to stir them up when you tell them it like it is, you know, and they're very touchy about that sort of thing. So that might be one of the reasons why they pulled the column in the end.
Imagine a touchy woman. Yeah. But as I think I would explain to Jackie at some point, probably at a disciplinary meeting, that it's no good shooting the messenger, is it? You're just explaining how it is, what it why these things happen,
why we do these things.
Yeah, you're not justifying them, you're explaining them. You see, that's the sort of subtle distinction that I would expect you, a bloke, to get. Whereas, you know, right.
Well, it's like the offside law, isn't it? You know, that's another thing that we instinctively get, but women don't.
Go on.
The offside law.
Oh, go on.
In fact, some of us blokes don't even get that.
Well, the thing about offside is that I'm not sure that if I were asked to recite it, that I could do.
No, it's very complex, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know when somebody is.
You instinctively know, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
This is an argument I was having with my girlfriend. She was saying, well, women understand football exactly the same as men do, but they don't, because although they are capable of watching the game, and sometimes they will play it, men are brought up playing it every single day.
Yeah.
On the park and, you know, freeing in and what have you. And they instinctively have it running through their veins.
Yeah, you kick things, don't you? Right.
Yeah.
The first thing, yeah. First, as soon as you can stand on one leg with any degree of safety and confidence, you use the other one to kick something.
Yeah. Football.
Yeah.
Into the net.
Yeah. There we are. Yeah. Right. So 0161 288 0103 at anything that if you have views to share on this, I've no doubt that Jackie will be back in a second, banging on about this. But as I say, Roger he's been trying to explain to women just how it looks from the man's side of things. Now, I suspect that the other way around would be much more difficult, because let's face it, men they're pretty straightforward. We're, broadly speaking, honest, and we make few demands on the world. So, putting our point of view across, I would imagine, would be alright. It's probably complicated, but it can be arrived at. Whereas, would you have fancied your chances trying to do it the other way around, to explain to men the way women think?
Well, I don't think I could have done that, being a man.
Yeah.
It would have had to be a woman explaining to him.
I suppose you have to be. Do you think it's possible?
What, for a woman to explain to a man?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's whether the men would be interested or not. They'd probably be much more interested in going down the pub or watching the football game.
Right, we're going to speak to Karen in Chorlton in a second. Hang on, Karen. We'll be with you in a sec. That was a beauty, that one. Thank you.
Did you like that one?
I think that's explained it in just the terms that we were looking for. We'll see if we've got on Karen's nerves in Chorlton in a second. It's Key 103, James H. Reeve here, Roger McCartney there, and off to Chorlton after we had some of these. It's just 22 minutes to midnight.
Key 103.
Call it 25! Emil, £25,000!
I love Key 103!
If that sounds good to you, then the great news is we're doing it again. And this time round, there's even more money to be won. These are the 3 songs you're listening out for on Key 103's £25,000 triple play. Song 1, Sugar Babes, Push the Button. Song 2, Madonna, Like a Prayer. Song 3, Stereophonics, Handbags and Glad Rags. We will play those songs in full and in that order on Key 103 sometime soon. And when we do, we'll be giving away another £25,000 cash. Stay listening to win cash. The £25,000 triple play is playing again on Manchester's #1 hit music station. Key 103.
20 seconds on the city of Manchester, starting now. There's a new TV channel that is totally focused on Manchester. What is that channel? Correct.
What?
The I Love Manchester show features the culture, history and landmarks of the city. On which channel?
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Correct. Home Search is an unmissable property program. On which channel?
Oh, yeah, it's,
Correct. You have scored maximum points.
Channel M is the all-new TV station for Manchester with more news, more sport, more entertainment, more Manchester full stop. Channel M, now on Sky Guide 203, NTL 26 and free-to-air, frequency 39.
There's broadband and there's broadband. And I don't want basic broadband. I want quality broadband. I want blue chip 18-carat corner office broadband. Hallmarked broadband. I want silk-lined, hand-stitched Savile Row broadband. I want penthouse with views of the park and a jacuzzi broadband. Belgian chocolate broadband. I want broadband I can introduce to my parents. Solid mahogany aristocratic broadband. I want the Duke of broadband. I want wax-sealed Premier Crew Swiss Watch broadband.
With BT you get more than just the basics. With our ultra-reliable best-ever broadband package. Call 0800 032 7939. Subject to availability and survey. BT line required. Conditions apply.
You're an electrician. You're self-employed and on a job. You have to reach up to feed some cables through, so you stand on a table. You're only 1 metre off the floor. What's the worst that could happen?
Hi, I'm Dr. Marsden. I'm afraid it looks like you fractured your spine, so I'm referring you to our spinal injury specialist.
Last year, over 2,000 people seriously injured themselves falling from low heights in the workplace. Don't be one of the casualties this year. Call 0845 345 0055 for information on how to be safe at all heights. Be safe, be careful, and take a moment not to fall.
Key 103 and Nokia Rock Up and Play.
Bringing people together to share and enjoy upcoming music talent.
Listen to Debbie Mack from 7 p.m. this week.
For a chance to win Carling Weekend Leeds Festival ticket and a Nokia 3250.
Plus, get to Jabez Clegg on June 13th.
Local bands and DJs and Nokia's Rock Up and Play stage.
With a chance for any band to rock up and show off their talent.
Nokia.
Sharing your passion for music on Key 103. The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, there's just... who gives a toss about the offside rule? Says a text message. What significance does it hold in society? Does it prevent wars? No. It's pointless. If that's all men can do, God help us. Yeah, but, I mean, it's not all we can do, but you know. Oh, relax, haven't you?
It's just one thing we can do.
Yeah, it's better than bottling it all up. And, you like this. Oh, James, the way you try and explain things to Jackie, I have the same problem when I try and explain similar things. I know your pain, says Adam in Warrington.
Oh,
I
brilliant.
know. And here's one for you. He said, this is for you, Roger. He says, I'm round at your house at the moment. He says, your wife's lovely, but don't worry, it's in my jeans.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's in my jeans.
That's a good one.
See what he's done there?
Know,
It's
yes,
a
yeah.
play on. Karen in Chorlton, are you enjoying yourself listening to this?
I'm cracking my sides. I'm laughing my head out. Laughing out loud.
Right, laughing your head off loud.
Yes.
Right, yes. A simple yes would have done.
Yes.
Right. Your views on this caper?
Very mixed.
Go on.
I've enjoyed myself this evening more than I have done listening to you in a hell of a long time.
Wow, what have you been doing?
Listening to you
Oh, I see,
and Roger.
right. Yes, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much indeed. Can I have that in writing? Because it's me appraisal at the end of the month. Yeah.
Right, having said that, I was taking the conversation and, between Roger and yourself, and Roger started talking a lot of common sense about human nature and males in particular. And then he blew it, and you both did. And it's made me realise I have more esteem and respect for you tonight, James, than I ever have done, because you've actually shown just how weak you are.
Go on.
Yes. Jackie came out with a damn good one simple, damn good pertinent question. And it took two blokes, all the diatribe.
Well, he wasn't much help.
No, please. It took you and a little backup from Roger. Roger had the common sense to back down. And as per usual, you come up with a load of fancy words, thinking your listeners don't understand. And you were typical. All as you've proved, James, is you never ever came up with an answer. All you came up with excuses. And between the two of you, you said to Jackie, there are 3 reasons. And Jackie said, no, they're only excuses. I'm waiting for an answer. And you still haven't given it yet.
See?
You still haven't given it.
Yes,
and I admire you more, James, tonight.
What's the matter
finally,
with people?
No, he's proved that he's only human. We're all human.
Oh, don't fall.
But
No.
James,
I pretend to be when it suits my purposes. Look, I explained to her.
No, you
to her.
didn't.
Yes,
no,
I did.
you didn't. It was just verbal diatribe. There's nothing to explain. You were asked a simple, straight, 2 men there. You were asked one simple, straightforward question.
Look, well, I'll tell you something.
You do with your listeners.
I think Roger is one of these blokes who, when you go in the pub, he's the one who closes the door very carefully. And that means you get to the bar first.
Well,
I think he's one of those.
until Roger was doing brilliantly. And I thought, yes, this guy's talking sense. I like the sound of him. And I kept on listening.
Look.
Yes, but Jackie didn't ask Roger that question.
Right. Well,
she posed that question to you, and you the one that blew it. You talked your way through it. You're still not given a proper answer yet.
What was the question again?
Why do men cheat?
Well, I'll tell you something.
No, you've got
to tell you something. No,
go on.
Right. We do have the technology here.
No. Forget technology. No. I don't want to know that. I've got the technology at home. I've also got my... See, it's not going to tell me why men cheat.
How am I supposed to answer this question? When 2 women are interrupting me at the same time.
Excuse me.
Oh, now you're the victim.
Jackie, are you there? Hold
yes,
on.
We heard
Jackie,
this.
when you were asking James a question, you had 2 men answering you, Roger and James, and you were on your own, so tables have turned, and he still can't come up with a straightforward answer.
No, I know, because there isn't. There are just excuses.
Have you 2 finished?
Oh, don't pull that one now.
Sticking together.
You 2 were sticking together when I was here before.
Please, don't come up with technology. I've got as many dictionaries as you have. I come up with the word psychological words. You've used every trick in the book tonight.
Karen.
And that's why I love you so much more, because you've actually shown your weaknesses.
Oh, so you want to mother me now, do you?
No, like fiddlesticks. No way, thank you.
They
no
always
way.
say, crack on a bit vulnerable. Yeah,
no.
Generally does the trick.
No. You've just mentioned a big word there.
What?
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's not a big word when you write it down, but it's a big word when you take its context in and analyse it. And that exactly. When I said your weakness and weaknesses, I rephrase that. You've said it yourself. Your vulnerabilities, and they've come out this evening. And I love you more for that. You've let people see that you can't answer.
I've done no such thing.
You have been so. You fell for it hook, like, and. Oh, come on.
Hook, like, and sinker?
No, I was going to say something else. I didn't want to swear, so I changed it.
Look, you see, this is what I mean. Do you know what you're doing, Karen? You don't realise this, but you are in actual fact reinforcing, I would think, everything. And just watch how I unload the responsibility for this now. You're marvellous, eh? You would.
Having said all I've said,
the British and Irish Lions wouldn't be able to unload one like this.
Oh,
I think
you just did it again.
I think you.
Do you realise what you just said?
I think
the British Lion. That is such a male typical thing.
Well, all right then. The English ladies netball or hopscotch champions or something.
No. Why do you always have to make analogues or comparisons to something? You always have to admit.
Oh, wait a minute. So wait a minute.
Look,
so if I refer to a rugby player, that's chauvinistic. If I refer to a woman sportsman, that's patronising.
Yeah, but you're being patronising by having to find something to cling to, so you can come out with it. Just say something without male effect. Just come out with something honest.
The whole discussion
this evening is about said the human being.
But because we start with the very premise, which I think you would struggle to even Germaine Greer herself would not.
Oh, don't! No! I resent that.
What?
She's bloody rubbish.
She has gone a bit batty the last few years, I grant you.
Always has been, always will be.
Well, in some ways she's come to her senses.
Is that how you think? Is that how you think that females can rely on whatever Germaine Greer said in the past 30 years? Do you think we're all up to that? Excuse me, I think you've got a long way to go. That is old hat.
Karen, you are now arguing with a conclusion which you have assumed I was going to arrive at. Unfortunately...
You're doing it again?
Because... What, being interrupted? That's wicked of me, isn't it? Because you didn't wait to hear what I was going to say,
James,
you are arguing with a
a
non-existent conclusion.
Why can't you just say, men and women, nobody is infallible. Everybody has weaknesses in whichever direction, and we fall upon them. That's all you have to say, Lily.
That's all we're bloody well saying!
Yes, but you've waited this long to say it. You and Roger together. Can't you just say nobody is infallible?
Well, they could, but it would have nothing to do with what we're talking about. Karen, listen, I've got to get rid of you there, because I'm going round in circles here a bit. We'll get back to your reason for being here, Roger, actually, in a second. We'll bring Sue in Lowton in. Hang on, Sue, we'll do you in a tick. It's 10 to midnight, time for another one of these, and then 0161 288 0103, 288 0103, talking to Roger McCartney. And the subject, well, the title of his collected works is simply an all-purpose answer to whatever you might be asked by women. Yeah, because I'm a caveman. That's why. Yeah. Now that's what I call an excuse.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Right. I'll just We'll go over it again for you in a second, and then we'll talk to Sue in Lowton. But listen to these first.
Key 103.
I am in Sayers Bakery on Cross Street in Manchester.
I want you to walk into the shop that you've chosen now.
Okay, I'm walking.
And buy the entire stock.
Right, I'm walking in. How much would it be just to have everything in the shop? Everything. Literally, I'd like everything in the shop. It will cost, but I've got some money. She's not sure.
Of course she's not sure.
Steve Penk's Weekend Breakfast, Saturday and Sunday from 9. Only on Key 103.
Can I have 37 cornets, 26 orange sunshine, 63 raspberry surprises, 54 choco rockets, 72 99s, and a screwball for the MD.
If the heat's on where you work, call HSS Hire. Air conditioning units, cooling fans, for the office, factory or shop, we've what you need right now. Visit hss.com or call 08457 28 28 28. HSS Hire. seriously cool.
So, will you pick sexy Salzburg, birthplace of Mozart and setting for the sound of music? Or would you rather Bratislava? She's a 24-hour city, but will you keep up? Or will you have a crack at Krakow? Beautiful by day, but what a sight by night. The choice is yours.
With Sky Europe Airlines, the choice is even easier. Just £25 each way, including taxes, and get you a date with these European cities, thanks to Central Europe's largest low-cost airline. Just visit skyeurope.com. Skyeurope.com. More Europe to discover. Terms and conditions apply.
The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, let's go straight to Loughton. Sue in Loughton, why don't you join us, why ever not?
Good evening, James.
Good evening, Sue.
Or should I say Pete and Dud? Because you two have woken me up better. Nothing wakes me up when I'm going to fall asleep. Nothing, but you two have. Absolutely laughable.
What?
The way you are talking about men and women as if they are, you know, never the twain shall meet. I mean, you like Pete and Dud in the pub, you two. Right, so go on, explain the offside rule to me, seeing as you know it so well.
Well, that's the whole point, you see. I can't really explain it, but...
No, you can't.
No,
Men
but you
can't
just
explain
know.
anything.
But you just know, don't you? You know, you can... Roger, you've...
It's instinctive, isn't it?
Yeah,
Go on, I'm waiting, I'm listening.
There is a lot of Pete and Dud in it. There is a bit of the humour. There is humour in there.
Yeah.
And it is a bit Pete and Dud with the two chaps. That's why Jackie came in here and gave us a good old telling off. But
as she saw it. Yeah.
Too chauvinistic, be scarfed, be capped, old guys sitting in the snug.
So, look.
Talking about women as if they are from a totally different planet, as if you have no idea how to understand them.
That's the whole point. Yeah. Because, Roger, however willing the spirit, however much one may try, right, it is undeniable that men and women think differently. But men and women are different.
Thank God for that.
Suddenly that suits you, does it?
Oh, it suits me plenty, yes. What I would really seriously say.
Let the soft.
I was just going to ask her. She agrees that we are different, men and women.
Yeah, but not in the way you're saying.
No?
I would say that the world isn't divided into men and women. It's divided into givers and takers. And some women are givers and some are takers, and some men are givers and some are takers. But the greater percentage of men are takers, obviously, because the greater percentage cheat.
I see what I mean. You mean yes, in matters of the old favourite, as we call it.
Knocker, you mean?
Yes, all right. So don't demonstrate the range of your vocabulary. Well, come on,
it's
Roger.
Just too simplistic. It's too simplistic, and you two sorting out the ways of women. I just got this great picture of the two of you sitting in the pub with your caps on and the scarves around your neck, going, "Yeah, Pete. Yeah, Dud. Yeah, James." Yeah, Roger.
It's interesting to see who you have as your cultural icons, Sue. So that is interesting.
You're my cultural icon, James.
I'm not surprised to hear that at all.
No.
Look, everyone assumes because you say that men and women are different that there is some sort of triumphant aspect to this, and there's some sort of hidden agenda. There's some sort of ulterior motive. Nobody is saying that. We're simply pointing out, and Roger has done this at considerable length and in detail. And
unfortunately, I haven't read it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you give us a selected reading, and let's see if can
I just interrupt one moment?
Why don't every other woman
before he starts to read? Will it read anything like his experience of his co-worker who he fancied and he couldn't get any further with?
Yeah,
because it was a very personal reflection, hardly, a reflection of society as a whole.
But
him sitting there in the pub with his cap and his scarf on, ogling the girl across the table.
But this is a question.
Okay.
Roger was actually pointed this out. This is a question which has been addressed by, it was the whole theme of that film When Harry Met Sally, which
Yes.
Roger mentioned before. So Roger is examining that issue, and he's explaining it, what's going through a bloke's mind. Now, surely, if a man takes the trouble to explain to women what goes through a man's mind, then isn't this a step towards greater understanding?
That's right.
Yeah, you see, Roger agrees with me. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, you made me laugh again. Yeah.
Go on, choose.
Well, I don't really want to go into a reading of the book, but
A short excerpt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
What about this one from? Oh, well, here we go. This is a good one. Why men lie about overweight women.
I think that's something we haven't. Have you? Right. So.
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Listen.
I'm listening.
Right,
You see, I'm not talking.
Right. And if you're a man listening, I think you may very well find that you've been in the situation Roger is just about to paint for you.
We would all like to have girlfriends that look like Rachel Hunter. That is a given. In fact, we would all like to have for a girlfriend Rachel Hunter.
Isn't he shallow?
But this is just not possible. Just as Santa cannot get round every house, neither can Rachel. Besides, this is real world UK, and just as us men don't look like Brad Pitt, the women don't look like Rachel Hunter either. Not in my street, anyway. And if they did look like her, I would probably be too shy to go up and talk to them. Real women have love handles. Accept the fact, deal with it, and move on. I have.
There. What's contentious about that? No one is being belittled there.
No.
Are they not?
The man is the victim as much as the woman.
Oh my
He's poking fun at both sides of the.
Oh my
both
God!
sections. It's more poking.
He gives us one phrase. Oh, it may have been a clause. Your grammar's probably better than mine, but not all women look like whoever it was.
Rachel Hunter,
and not all of us look like Brad Pitt. You know, that was the one leeway on the side of that. Men are not perfect. Oh no. Do you know? I might get it out of the library, but I'm not going to buy it.
Well, that's something at least. That's something.
And you know, I mean,
you just can't win. Can
it's heresy. It's absolute heresy.
Look, so honestly,
I'm listening.
I'm just reflecting. I mean, no disrespect at all, Roger. I know you've come a long way to be, and it's very good of you. But whoever's idea it was to invite you, there's going to be trouble.
Why, you've woken everybody up. It doesn't matter, does it?
It'll be brought up at the next meeting.
No, but he's woken everybody up. I am going to go to bed now and go to sleep. I've got to be up at 5:30.
Really?
Yes. I was nodding off nicely before you two came on.
All right then. What?
It's all entertainment.
Are you on the milk, Sue? Or what?
Yeah.
Or, oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
All right.
Right. Are you the knocker up?
Don't you be so cheeky.
Oh, you don't. How dare you? That's your mind. That was Sue in Lowton. Ah, dear. 0161 288 0103. Here we are. Hoping to. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm just trying to think. Probably not since the use of chlorine gas by the British at the Battle of Lewes in 1915 has such a plan backfired to the extent that this had. Here we are, hoping to have a laugh. Everyone's foaming at the mouth. But luckily, here's a man to introduce a bit of common sense into the situation.
Hopefully.
Well, I think we can put money on it. It's John in Denton. John,
James.
you're on Key 103.
Hi, James, Roger.
Hi.
James, I think you're expecting a bit too much at this time of night, mate.
What's that?
But, to inject a bit of common sense.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
There always certainly is.
Yeah.
Wow, you're getting some stick tonight, aren't you? I really can't see the reason why. Trying to explain to Jackie. I think you're winning the win there, mate. She just didn't seem to get your point, what you was on about.
I'm glad you were taking that on board. It's amazing that John could see exactly what was happening there.
A bloke.
Yeah.
Funnily enough. Right, going back to when I didn't start listening till about an hour or so ago. So, but what I can see is Roger seems to be sitting on the fence a little bit here.
Roger's just an easy-going. He's like most men.
He's a sensible bloke.
Yeah.
I'm letting James dig a hole.
James, he's certainly not coming in between you and these fighting women. Wow, Roger, no, you're doing the right thing there, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, something I want to take umbrage with. When you're saying why men cheat, and everybody seems to be accepting that it is cheating.
Yeah.
I seem to think cheating seems to be against the rules, but it seems to be society's rules which you're saying you're cheating against, and not human nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
But I'm single, I've been single, I explained the situation, I've been single nearly 5 years, I've been in long-term relationships, and I have cheated in those relationships. But since I've been single, I've had short-term relationships, one-night stands, etc. with women.
You're just going, just so you wanted as many people as possible to hear you saying that, didn't you?
Well, hopefully, I'm actually hoping nobody that I know is going to be listening, James, because I could be getting myself into serious trouble here. But I'd only consider it cheating if you're in a relationship or a partnership and say that you're not going to have sex with another woman. I mean, I think most blokes in a relationship would want to, and it's only the fact that they might risk their present relationship that they don't.
Yeah, I'm with you, yeah, but I mean, that's the argument about socialisation, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
You make that decision with someone else in mind and all manner of things, and of course economic consequences and all the rest of it, right? Whereas the animal side of you, right, your bull elephant, he's not worried about whether he's going to get half the house or not, is he?
No, definitely not.
He just wanders around mindlessly, burying his enormous elephant private parts in as many female elephants as possible.
Which I think is human nature.
It appears to be animal nature. She's just come in with a face
James.
like thunder
we're just being
now.
picking here whether you're going to consider human beings as animals.
Well, yeah, we've got to do.
Well, you've got to always remember, like you were saying about the swans, there's always an exception to every rule.
Of course.
But, and we're talking general here, general terms.
Of course.
But I think I don't agree with Jackie, where saying women only cheat for revenge.
I thought that was an interesting remark to make, and I think it also rather gave the lie to this theory that, well, what is it? Love is of man's life a thing apart, 'tis woman's whole existence.
I'll take your word for that one, James.
Well, it's not my word. I think it's probably Shakespeare's, actually.
Probably,
so everybody had their own.
If not revenge, then...
certainly written by a bloke.
Because they...
by a sensitive bloke.
Shut up!
Go on. Oh, sorry, did I speak while you were interrupting?
Yes.
It won't happen again.
Probably because they feel like they're not being loved enough, and they're seeking it elsewhere.
So, to have an affair or to cheat is the answer?
Well, it seems to be for you lot.
I think
that's men in general, is it?
No, but what your reasoning was programming. And
that wasn't my reasoning, but I do agree with it.
Statistics, like James said, show women don't cheat as much. I would say the main reasons are, if not revenge, then just a lack of love in that current relationship. So they go and seek it elsewhere, as men do, according to the reasoning.
Are you all right with that, son?
Well, I'm a bit gobsmacked that.
Why?
Well, I know.
That's the reasoning that you're bloody giving.
Hey, will you not come here, Lord Marin? Thank you.
James, I don't want to get into this because, like I say, I think I'll just be weeing in the wind again. All I can reiterate is what James said earlier. But you seem to be saying that James is making an excuse for this. Now, I didn't hear earlier on, so I don't know what James's views were on this cheating. But from what I've heard in the past hour and a half, he certainly doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't condone it.
No, but they are excuses, because
they're not excuses.
What Roger and James have been saying.
It's a reason, you know, why the flowers come up when the sun shines. It's the reason for it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, you didn't say reasoning.
Not an excuse.
I said reasoning before, and you said no, an explanation, James, if you remember.
Well, that's nitpicking an explanation and reasoning.
Right. Well,
it's only an excuse if you're trying to defend it or defend your actions, and you're using it as an excuse.
You only need to defend it when you've actually gone and done it. If you didn't do it in the first place, you wouldn't need to defend it or give any reasoning for it.
Exactly.
What do you mean exactly?
Oh, I'm sorry. I appear to have committed the cardinal sin of agreeing with Jackie. That's asking for trouble.
Maybe I'm just doing it to patch things up between you, James.
How nice of you.
Don't mention it. No, I'm sorry, Jackie, I can't agree with that.
Agree with what?
You're saying that this is an excuse for men's behaviour.
Okay, so what's the reasoning behind it then?
The reason is, as we say, it's genetics. That is the reasoning. I'm not saying it's an excuse.
John, be careful. I fell into this trap.
It's only
attempting to answer the question.
See, first of all, if you're saying what men are doing is wrong, is your opinion of wrong, i.e., spreading their seed, their genes, carrying on the bloodline.
Right.
First of all, you're saying this is wrong.
Spreading the seed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's what it's about.
John, I'm
from
sorry.
What I can see, what I can gather from Roger's book, that is what it's about. It's human nature.
Sorry, no. Your explanation. Your explanation suddenly became an excuse. Do you realise that?
I don't feel that.
No, it's not an excuse. It's absolute rubbish.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not even an excuse.
It's human nature, same as it's human nature when. I mean, women are made to look attractive. They're made to look. Oh, sorry. We'll say the female of the species is made to look attractive to the male.
Right.
Okay.
And vice versa.
And vice versa,
to
yeah.
Procreate, yes.
But you'll also notice when you are no longer useful to human nature, i.e., when you can no longer get pregnant, everything just goes pear-shaped.
As with men.
No, that's not necessarily so. Look, when you start looking at people like Sean Connery and stuff like that, which personally I don't fancy him, he's not my type, but most women will find him sexually attractive. And that is because he can still do the job that human nature intended him for him to do, whereas the woman can't. The female of the species can't.
Unlike
scientist.
There's people giving birth.
James, back me up on it, please.
The 70s.
Listen, I would, but unfortunately, whenever we get close to anything which appears to be a logical explanation, suddenly there arises a great wailing in the land. Well, not in the land, in this room.
I find that perfectly logical. I really do. I can't see why anybody has a problem with that.
Well,
I'm not making that as
you
an
would do, because that's your reason, that's your excuse to go out.
No, that's not my reason, that's human nature.
And it's easy for you to put your hand up and say, do you know what, because it's all in the genes and it's in our programming, etc.
No, I'm
absolute rubbish.
Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it.
You know, John, you just put your finger on it, mate. You just solved it. You inadvertently cast a dazzling light on the whole thing. You said logical.
Sorry, James, my mistake, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that explains it.
James, I do feel like somebody texting. I do feel your pain on this. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall, mate.
That's quite. Yeah, I know. It's very nice of you. Listen, but I mean. It's great, and in fact,
you know
what? If I'd had a drink,
we're just going on the pub, eh?
If I'd had a decent drink, I'd say, John, you're my best mate, you are. I would.
Get another one in.
In fact, I love you.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome. That was just a gag, by the way. Don't get carried away. Is it? Can't do that. Right, we'll go straight to John. Are you all right, Roger?
Yeah.
I bet you're wondering what the hell you've landed in the middle of, haven't you? Or are you used to this sort of thing now?
I'm used to this sort of thing where it all kicks off, but
okay.
It was nice to have John come on and give us a sort of
balanced view.
Yeah. Sort of help us out a bit. It is a bit like Pete and Dud, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know,
I mean, when there's two blokes in the room and they're sort of like kicking over the topics of the day, if you like. They do become, and it is a bit of humour involved. It is a bit like Pete and Dad. I took that as a compliment.
I did. I mean, partly because of the reasons you gave there, but also because, if you remember, Pete and Dad used to talk quite a lot of sense.
Yeah, and they were very, very funny.
Yeah,
we're talking about something 40 years ago. I mean, and to be compared to them is quite complimentary.
Praise indeed. Joyce, I've got a feeling we're about to come down to earth with a bump here. No. Joyce in Reddish. Joyce.
Hiya.
Hello, you're on that key 103.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Just excuse my voice. I've got a husky, but I'm not really a man, I promise.
All right, that's your options. Having trouble with your options, are you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
What was he called that was just on John?
That was John, yeah.
Yeah, that said that when women get past having children, nobody fancies them. That's basically what he said, wasn't it?
Well, in a way.
Right,
yes.
So, personally, I can't have any more children.
Right.
I'm a grandmother. And at the moment, I'm actually saying no to a 27-year-old. And also to a 29-year-old. My ex-partner was 32. So that's a lot of...
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just rubbish. It's like Sharon Stone. She's nearly, 50? And I was swooning all over Sharon Stone. So I don't think Sharon wants to have any more children at her age.
Yeah, well, you see, would you go along with this?
No, I'm just saying, I think it's society. It's nothing to do with... I agree with the nature thing. I agree with what you're saying about its nature for exactly, you know, like the lions have lionesses and blah, 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 and I agree with that. But when the stud of that pride is on his way out, all the other lionesses just go, all right, thanks, but go on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So I don't agree with it. It's a male thing to have affairs. Women have affairs all over, and it's society that tucks up for it.
Yeah, well, as has been pointed out on the text messages this evening, there has been a number of people want to know that if men can use the genes as an excuse, which apparently is reprehensible,
women will
according
use
to Jackie.
Levi's or Wranglers.
Oh yes, that's very funny.
Yeah, you go.
But then women have got no excuse whatsoever. They haven't. They haven't for infidelity. They haven't even got the feeble excuse that men try and use, or so we are told, of it being an unavoidable urge brought about by their genetic programming. Women, why is this? Whenever you introduce a perfect argument, somebody says rubbish, and it's usually a woman.
No, I have been told. I personally have been told that I give the impression that I am the easiest lay on this planet, which I'm not. But
no, in the top
my friends tell me this, male and female, tell me that I give over the impression because I'm a bullshit bitch, and that because I
No, Joyce, you mean a strong woman?
No, a bullshit bitch.
No, no, it's the same thing.
People don't like, and people try to put situations, whatever situation it is that they're in, put people down, and I just back up the underdog, and they don't like it. So I'm obviously, you know, like gagging for it, for want of a word, you know, for want of a phrase, which I'm not. But when society gets together, it's all right for men to do it, but it's not all right for women to do it.
Well, that of course is another aspect, isn't it? That's, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's a man's a stud if he goes out and has as many lays as he can. A man's a stud. If a woman does it, she's a slag.
Yes, I know, but just listen to me. Now, listen to me. I'm going to try this. I've tried using this approach with Jackie, but it doesn't work.
Right, go on
I'll
then.
try it with you, and it begins. Listen to me.
Come on.
Okay. The reason for that is that is linked with what we were talking about before. As you say, a promiscuous male is, in some circles, considered to be a bit of a lad. A promiscuous female is frowned upon. Now, that mirrors the nature part we were talking about, whereas a woman is, and it's all to do with the species surviving and the best possible specimens being bred. See what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just approaching the explanation there. So you can immediately Here, Joyce rolling her eyes.
I am not, honestly.
I'm abandoning this. It's suddenly it's beginning to make sense. Quick, I better put a stop to it.
No. So you explained to me.
Right.
You're talking about the nice cuddly species, aren't you? With fur on the backs and things.
No, I'm talking about great things with tusks and all sorts.
What about black widows and praying mantis?
What about them?
Well, black widows, they mate with the male and then they kill them. And praying mantis.
If we restricted ourselves to mammals, would that
for the benefit of the male population?
No, mammals.
Yeah, for the benefit of the male population.
No. Just for the interest, just purely in the interest of having a discussion that makes sense.
Go on then.
Right. I'm just about to. I was just having to draw a big breath there.
Right.
Okay.
But because
too late. I missed that window. Wait for the next one. Yeah.
Because you're sticking to the nice mammal side of it, then it's okay. You're making sense to your argument.
I'll tell you something I've noticed tonight. I've noticed it from a number of sources. Is that whenever what I'm describing, I'm going along there explaining the situation, and whenever it seems to be making sense.
No, it's making sense, James, honestly. It really is.
Yeah. I was going to say, I get interrupted, but I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, sorry.
Right, thank you. Just as the beauty, the crystal clarity in all its magnificence of my argument is about to reveal itself, suddenly someone thinks, I better put a stop to this. And starts going, oh, here we go. And funnily enough, they've all been women. Can you explain that for me, Joyce? What do you think?
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, sorry for going on for so long. Yeah.
I just think that there are women that have affairs that go out there and do whatever they want to do because they can. Not because they want to or because they need to prove anything to anybody, because they can. And then they get looked down on society, and when men do it, men just go, oh, it's all right then.
Yeah, well, if you remember, and this is very much where we came in, it was at this point when you said something very similar before that I was just about to explain why there is a connection between that civilized attitude and the animal side of things. But unfortunately, because it made a dangerous amount of sense, you decided to bail out of the discussion at that stage.
No, not
yes,
at all.
you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Why did I bail out of it? Because I said you're talking about you bailed out of it because you're talking about.
Right. Let's see if Lola in Didsbury is going to make any more sense. I very much what? Where? Hey? Right, okay. Tell you what am I supposed to do with this?
After the break.
Right, okay. Wait, there's a break coming up.
Key 103 and Nokia Rock Up and Play.
Bringing people together to share and enjoy upcoming music talent.
Listen to Debbie Mack from 7 p.m. this week.
For a chance to win Carling Weekend Leeds Festival tickets and a Nokia 3250.
Plus, get to Jabez Clegg on June 13th.
Local bands and DJs and Nokia's Rock Up and Play stage.
With a chance for any band to rock up and show off their talent.
Nokia.
Sharing your passion for music on Key 103.
This is The Story's self-titled album. Wonderful songs and instinctively beautiful harmonies. An incredibly accomplished debut album. Includes the singles Be By Your Side and Cinema. A band with live performances not to be missed. Catch The Stories on the road with Elton John this summer. The Stories album is a perfectly polished J. It's out now.
Hey, you know that brunette who won at bingo last week? She was knocked out by an oven chip. Oh, and Geraldine, you know, at number 14, a bogus social worker tried to snatch her baby. Twice! And that lady at the post office, her cheeky plastic surgeon said she was too fat for an extreme makeover. Yes, too fat. Like real-life stories, you'll love it. 68 glossy pages of amazing true stories, and everything from men to shopping. New Love It magazine, out now for only 60p.
Okay, give me the results.
Tractor production, down. Beetroot yield, down. Cabbage...
Enough! Why are they so lazy?
We suspect Monarch's Revolutionary Bargain Hunter service, sir.
Ah, yes, where you can find all their cheapest fares. Not that I would use such a decadent service.
Oh, of course not, sir. Nor enjoy the extras like allocated seating and free newspapers.
What? The salt mines need more people, you know.
Bargain hunt your breaks at flymonarch.com.
Helen, do you want
A baby?
No, do you want
A baby.
No, Helen, do you want
No, I want a baby.
No, do you want...
I want a baby.
A cup of tea? Do you want a cup of tea?
Yes, please, and a biscuit.
Good.
And a baby.
Feeling broody? It's time to go on the pill. Synatogen Pronatal is a multivitamin and mineral supplement with folic acid that's scientifically proven to ensure you get the important vitamins and minerals you may need before and during your pregnancy. Synatogen Pronatal.
The conventional wisdom is to remortgage every couple of years. But when you add up how much that'll cost in fees every time, maybe it's not such a wise move. Here's an idea. Abbey's Flexible Plus Mortgage. Because it's guaranteed to always track just above the base rate, you get a great deal for the life of a mortgage, so you'll never want to remortgage again. To find out more, call Abbey on 0800 80 80 80, visit abbey.com or your local branch. It could be the wisest move you'll ever make. Abbey, more ideas for your money.
10% deposit, £599 booking fee, 0.49% above Bank of England base rate. The overall cost for comparison is 5.2% APR. Calls recorded.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
It's 25 past midnight. News which overrides everything else is, of course, the progress of Wayne Rooney's metatarsal, which I think it's fair to say until David Beckham injured his in similar circumstances, up until that point, I doubt if there were more than a dozen people in the country who knew what a metatarsal was. I thought it was a small, agile sort of dinosaur. But anyway, suddenly, everyone's a paediatrician. That's a foot doctor, not the one. Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, the latest is this. Manchester United have just released this statement. They have confirmed that Wayne Rooney has rejoined the England squad in Germany following his scan in Manchester. He is now in the care of the England medical team. Well, that sounds as if he's dying. This is the issue just before George V snuffed it, wasn't it? He is now in the care of the England medical team. The expert independent medical view is that Wayne has a good chance of being fit after the group stage of the tournament. At that point, the expert independent medical view is that his participation in the tournament will require very careful assessment in order to address his suitability, as he will not have had the opportunity to play in less demanding games. So, if I can put that in a nutshell, no change. Right, he's gone back to Germany. Whether he won't play in the group games, and it will then be a question of deciding, if indeed his services are required, whether he will play in later games, assuming England get past the group stage, which isn't necessarily a foregone conclusion. Whatever Tony Christie might be singing. So there, more news as we get it. 0161 288. Actually, there is some. Sorry, I've not. Tonight, I have to say, I normally try to discourage this texting because it's an irritating and dreadful habit. But there actually have been some quite good ones tonight. For example, is that Jackie dumb? You tell me one man who's got an ugly woman as a friend. I rest my case. Lola in Didsbury. Lola, you're on Key 103.
Hello, hi.
Hello there.
Hi. Right, first of all...
Can I just say something?
Yes.
Right. Can I interrupt first?
Yes.
Right. Roger's come here from Bury St Edmunds,
Mm-hmm.
and he came up here thinking, I hope these people in Manchester aren't all as rough and coarse as I've been led to believe. And after the way that Hillmans have behaved this evening, I don't think he'll ever set foot in the place again. He'll go to Bury St Edmunds and he'll say, well, how do people live up there?
Oh.
Is that a fair assessment?
It's not like that.
Oh, I think I get it down south anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get the same.
You get abuse down there as well?
Yeah, get the same.
Is there any way you can go without getting abuse?
Not really.
All right. Lola, you're on the wireless. Go on.
Okay, yeah. First of all, the days of the caveman and spreading their seeds have completely gone. I mean, that was, years and years ago. Now, we all are equal, and we know that. And would it be right in saying that most men that have affairs are married with children?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah,
I would say that's the case.
Yeah.
Okay. They choose to have children, man and the woman. They do. The man goes out to work. The woman would probably, she hasn't got time actually to have an affair because she is at home with the children.
Oh, so the only thing that's stopping her is because she hasn't got time.
Well, maybe. Let me just tell you.
Oh, in that case, after she's mithered her husband to buy her a washing machine and a dishwasher
to wash his clothes
and a Dyson, then she's got more time in her hands, so she can have an affair then.
No, that's
after he's worked himself to death.
No, that's not my point. She hasn't got time. She's looking after the children. Okay. She's committed to them. The only place that they can probably go in the day with the children is toddler groups, boring toddler groups, talking to other women about how the babies are coming on, how much weight they've gained, have they got teeth yet, and this, that and the other. The men...
And the same could apply to their husband, couldn't it?
I mean, the minority. The minority, look after children, but not very many, I would say.
No, I was saying, I'm talking about the husband, how much weight he's gained and whether he's got any teeth left.
Oh, that I'm coming up to that in a bit.
Oh, okay, right.
Right, okay. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Right, okay, the men have got more time to mix with the outside world, okay, with different sexes. So obviously they meet different people more than the women do, the wife does.
Right.
Okay, so they finish the work, they go to the pub for a couple of drinks, the woman waits home for them, saying, the baby's been really good today, and this, that, and the other, and his smile isn't his first smile, and this, that, and the other.
Okay, I've got the picture.
And I think for a certain time, the man said, oh yeah, he's great, he's got your eyes, and he's got my nose. But I think he probably gets a little bit bored of it, because that's really all that the women have got to talk about, because she has got to stay and look after the children.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Right. Where am I up to now?
I've still in the early Stone Age, I think.
Yeah. No. Anyway, if the women would be able to trust the man to look after the children and go out, they most probably would, but you probably wouldn't, because, after they go to the pub after a couple of drinks and this, that and the other, they're really good for nothing, only to probably sit and scoff the tea down, which they can't even remember eating. And I'm not saying this about all men, but I would say the majority probably fall asleep at the television, and that's it. And the wife sat there thinking, well, nice day I've had, and what do I get? This man coming home. And she's probably bored out of her mind, absolutely bored out of her mind, but she hasn't got the time to go out because of the children.
Right.
Okay. Right.
You see, Lola, I have formed a response to this, to what you've said now. My fear is that, based on what has happened so far this evening, is that should I attempt to explain my reaction to what you've just described, is that I'll get a torrent of abuse. Jackie will come, the door will fly off its hinges here, she'll come hurtling in, And I wouldn't be surprised if her from Oldham has got on the all-night bus to come into town and hit me with a bloody umbrella. Yeah, that's what I'm on about.
God.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, men that do this...
Roger won't go across the car park on his own now.
Right, why haven't they got the bottle to say, look, you know, I'm really bored, darling, or whatever, instead of coming home and saying, yeah, nice day, I'm alright, yeah, alright, kids have been alright, they're in bed. Why haven't they got the bottle to say, look, it's not working, I'm a bit fed up and with this child, you know, with the children and everything, and I want to be on my own for a little while and go off and do it, because 9 times out of 10, when the women find out, the men want to come back anyway. They know what side the bread's buttered, definitely. Now, as the children get older, believe me, the women will get the men back. They will get them back, definitely. They'll want to go out more because they'll be more confident that the children's being looked after more. And they will most probably meet people as well and think, God, what have I been missing all these years? I've been putting up with this bore that's been coming home, ignoring me, falling asleep.
Do you know?
I've got really nothing to say. And, you know, it's time for me to go out then. And they will do. And then as the men get older, with the pot bellies, the beer bellies...
Ah, you're loving this.
No, listen, the balding head, boring, no teeth, or not looking after themselves or whatever. This is when she will get her own back. And believe me, she will. They will. Because no woman will put up with that. And she'll remember the years when he's done this to her. And most of the time, the women probably know that they're having affairs, but there's nothing they can do about it at the time. Because to an upheaval of leaving home or telling a husband to go, you know, you're having an affair, financially they probably can't manage. Yeah. They'd just rather overlook it.
Yeah, see, look,
but as they get older, they will get their own back. Right. What goes round comes round.
I'll invite Roger to respond to that in a moment.
Okay.
Right. But oh God, he's just said. Oh, please don't. But let me just say something here, and I'm going to try and say this now before she gets wind of it and comes flying back in here. Which is this: is that what you're describing is how this all works in civilized society. Yeah. And I don't deny that at all. Now you're talking about a man and a woman, husband and wife, whatever, the parents of a child. You're talking about them as a socio-economic unit. And there is no denying that that is the way families or couples, or what do they call them in sociology, pair bondings, that's how they function. Yeah. And they have done for the past, since people learned how to build huts. Okay? Yeah. What is it, about, how long is, about 300,000 years, isn't it, since Australopithecus first emerged?
Yeah, but we're not...
don't commit yourself. Right.
Yeah, go on.
All right. So, however, that I accept that. I accept that what you're talking about, there are all sorts of consequences, and the whole thing, the human race is different in that social respect. We have families, we have shelter, we have economy, we have all these things that animals don't have. But we do retain the things that animals have. And amongst them, and at this stage, you see, by now, Jackie would be standing on my chest, bellowing excuses, and I'd be feeling little drops of her saliva landing on my face. Right? This isn't excuses. I'm just explaining something here.
Okay.
Right. We retain those animal parts of us in addition to the civilization which we have acquired.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there are times when those two come into conflict. Now, let me give you an example of where the animal versus the social contradict each other.
Right.
Right. You said women can go out more. Right. Well, animals don't go out.
And then we are...
A female warthog doesn't think, oh, it's his bowls night tonight, isn't it? I'll go out with the girls.
Yeah, because they can't, we can.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So that doesn't prove anything, right?
We'll meet more people.
No, please don't use what I'm just saying to claim that it's proving exactly the opposite. I've not finished yet. Now let me give you another example of the... No, let me continue. Let me persevere in giving you this example.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Right, good. I hope we've got that on... Have we recorded that? Right, listen. Okay. The female hippopotamus doesn't have to consider things like that. Because they haven't got all those things I described which make us human rather than animal. They haven't got all those material things, they haven't got all the structures and all the rest of it. They wander around. Okay. But we do... Now, would you or would you not agree, although women can do all sorts of things these days, Lola, would you or would you not confirm that they still have breasts?
Yeah.
Right. Now, if it's all about going to Tupperware parties and all the rest of it now, then...
Oh, that's long gone.
Yeah. Well, never mind that. It was just an example.
Yes, I know. It's an example, but I'm just saying that's long gone.
Oh, well, look.
Go on. Sorry.
Whatever. Ann Summers, then. No, don't let's get bogged down in detail.
Okay.
Right. But why? If breasts have outlived their usefulness, if they are no longer relevant, why have we still got them? And the reason I ask that is to show that things which were in our blueprint do not go away. Sometimes they compete with the human social side of us.
Right.
Okay. Now, oh God. And so I says to him, well, I'll get you a new window frame if you want, but it'll be a couple of weeks.
What?
Eh?
What do you mean?
She's just come in.
What do you mean?
She's just come back in. I've had to change something.
Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. We don't really want all these things, you know.
What?
Bloody vacuum cleaners and double glazing and all that. But we've got to try and make ourselves as cosy as possible.
Well,
because we're stuck in the bloody house all the time.
Yeah,
because we've got breasts, yes, and we have the children. Now then, why don't the men, if they're not willing to look after their children, if they want to have affairs, why don't they, make a woman pregnant and bugger off?
Brilliant. Yeah. I'll go for that. Yeah.
Instead of wanting their own bloody comfort.
I'll vote for you.
The tea's being made, that the dinner's being cooked, coming home, lazy, farting, burping. Why don't they just go and plant the seeds somewhere else? And it'll cost them a hell of a lot of money if they do that with each woman. Instead of lying, deceiving us, why don't they do that? Go and plant the bloody seed somewhere else and leave us alone instead of lying and deceiving.
Okay, now at this point at the Labour Party conference, Lola, your light would come on and you'd have to sit down. Right, thank you. There we are. Well, that's an interesting policy statement from Lola. And I suppose quite a lot of people who've been, it's been a long, warm day and there's a few people who've been in the pub since tea time. If they just tuned in, they thought, I like the sound of her. She's got it right. Right, but, so, your theory, which is the one about the seed business.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much in front of her because she'll go off on one again.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Although I think it is scientifically, it can be established by scientific means, and I think in fact it has been. All this scientific proof in the world is as nothing in the face of a woman's disapproval, is it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the focus of the discussion seems to have come down now to why men cheat and the fact that whether they do cheat or don't cheat, or whether they cheat more than women. But it seems to be funny that all the other sort of things in the book we've ended up talking about the cheating.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the key issue, I don't know.
It would appear to be. From all the women who phoned in, it seems to be, doesn't it?
That seems to be the one they took umbrage at.
I'm much more interested in why in the shopping one, and I've scanned it to see if there are any tips as to how to get out of it, or how to make the wait outside the changing room more bearable, and the expression of approval more convincing. Do you like this one? Oh yeah.
The shopping one is a bit lighter vein, isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
My preference is for the SAS style of shopping, to get in and get the purchase and get out again as quick as time as possible. And this renders me practically useless as female company. If I could, I would even chuck in a stun grenade to facilitate the encounter. Ideally, I'd be so quick that even the CCTV would not pick me up, which is good, as in I can't be prosecuted for the grenade throwing into the...
Yeah, that's right. It's brilliant.
And it just goes on. It's basically how men look for a chair as soon as they enter a shop. Particularly a shoe shop.
Yeah, your eyes are everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, God, there's no...
As soon as you walk in the door, it's like, where's the nearest chair?
Yeah.
And then collapse down in it while the lady looks round and picks out the clothes and what have you. But, it's a bit more... I wish we'd come and discuss that one, really.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
Why? Are you so hard done by? Why'd you bother going shopping? You're so victimised.
If only we were given that choice.
Oh, I don't bother bringing men shopping at all. They're rubbish.
Exactly. Then why?
Why are you moaning about it? And we're victims.
Because it's the lesser of two evils. If you say, I don't want to go shopping because I hate it, what's going to happen? Can you imagine what would happen then? I see, so you're not coming shopping with me? Hey?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, that's fine. Then let's agree here and now never to go shopping with each other. Brilliant. How are we doing for time? Oh, it's